First person here. 3 now. Just started, it feels like a countdown except for a count up. 9, okay. Anthony, aren't you supposed to be at work? You can't answer my effing calls, but you jump on my live chat. What the hell's that about? Hey, James, how's it going there, Oscar? Spear, Callum, Reps and Grooves. How's it going there, brother? And of course, MA Renegade. How's it going, bro? And Flash Arrow. It's a pee break. Okay, Anthony, you're jumping on a live chat during a pee break. Like I said, you can't answer my effing calls. I'm a shitty cameraman. He's the worst. It's like he's always got an excuse. Says he's never playing video games. Doesn't play video games, but I always see on PlayStation 4 online. But he says he doesn't play video games. He doesn't have time for that stuff. So you're a hypocrite, Anthony. You're a hypocrite. All right, Samuel Harris. You're streaming at work. Nice. I like to interrupt people's work. It's good. Hey, Dylan Bain, you just bought the Move album. Thanks. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, my new album's coming out in a couple days. I just have to master this last track. Honestly, I just been trying to get a video out every day, and then I've been putting that off. So I just have to master this next track and finish it. I just want to finish this next track. I really like my new training track. The one, Knees Down, I really love that track too, but I just want to tweak it a little bit and then master it. And then that's going to be the final one. Then I'll have that new album out, which I'm pretty proud of, actually. I think it's the best one so far. So that'll be coming out. It should be coming out before Christmas, like in the next few days or whatever. I should have that done. Yeah. I remember Renegade. Yes, everybody's got time for video games. I know. Yeah. Okay, and James Maxwell's doing some shrugs. Good, no, because this is a Q&A. So you're like, I don't know, right? You got a lot of questions you just don't know the answer to, right? So you're doing the shrugs. It's good. Makes sense. Southside Kettlebell. How you doing, brother? Admiring the physique. Thanks, man. Yeah, thank you. Rick and Morty. Hey, buddy. How's it going there, Rick Morty and Dylan Bain? And Merry Christmas to you, though, Chris Beaker or Biker. I think it's Beaker, though. Right? Is that how I spell it? Biker, yeah. I hate getting people's names wrong, but yeah, sorry if I did. So yeah, Merry Christmas to you. And what about a Christmas album? Yeah, exactly there, Flash. Just put that together in 3 days. Why not, right? I think the album that I'll put together would be something that you may enjoy listening to, but it would probably be horribly offensive to play at your Christmas dinner. I probably would come up with something, but it probably would offend your grandma. Let's put it that way. Southside Kettlebell, do I like metal? I mean, I lift iron, so I guess I like metal, yeah. Thoughts on doing push-ups till failure at the end of every workout? Push workout? Yeah, you could do that. It's a form of a strip set for sure. And a push-up is slightly different than bench pressing because once again, your scapula is not stuck in one position on the bench. There's more of a rolling and a backward movement of the shoulders. So push-ups do offer a different range of motion and a different sort of dynamic. So push-ups are an interesting movement. It's just that you may find that if you did them just by themselves, that you may find that you need more weight at some point. Hey, Torrin Forsberg, I have a course on my website. He's asking about chest development. I have a course on my website called The Secrets to Building Chest. It's a chest course. It's quite long. It's actually a long video course on there. And I talk about all the intricacies of training chest. Now, some people aren't interested in my tips on chest training because they're like, oh, your chest sucks, whatever. But my chest is more than good enough to win a lot of competitions. And it was one of my stronger body parts. It wasn't my weakest body part by any means. And the bottom line is that when I dislocated the shoulder, it did change the dynamic of how my chest works and stuff. So it's taken me a little while to get that kind of groove together and figure out what's the best way to train my chest again. But that doesn't mean the actual secrets to training chest weren't discovered by me through my training over the years. So it's really the same as anything else. It's just that there's some subtle tweaks that you can do in your training that you can use in order to build the chest up. So, but anyway, I do have that in an organized course. So, otherwise I can give you the simple answer. The simple answer is, yeah, progressive overload, gaining strength basically matters. And then repping out with that strength, that matters. and finding the range of motion that keeps that tension on the chest, not necessarily transfers it to the triceps or the shoulders constantly. A lot of people are doing bench presses and they're doing different types of pressing movements, but they're basically hitting their delts and their triceps. Those are hitting failure long before the chest does, and then they're getting great development in other areas than the chest. And that happened to me too when I first started training chest when I was 18 years old. I mean, I started training at 15, but I was always training the shoulders, not really realizing I wasn't getting the chest development because I wasn't actually finding that groove where that chest was actually getting hit. So whatever hits failure, that's what you're going to get the most results in. That's really the truth. And a lot of times you have to really pay attention to your workouts and pay attention to what's happening. And from there, then you can start to make some changes. And I give you a bunch of ideas on how to do this in the course. So it's on my website. It's, I believe it's $80, but it's worth it. It's like a big, intense video just on that one subject. One second here, just taking care of something here. One second, just get it. Okay. Crystal clear mobile restoration. I already answered your question there on a comment when you said a trainer told you a bullshit sort of thing that you damage your legs if you do 90-degree squats. This trainer's an effing idiot. That's all I can say to you. Because there are so many different aspects of squatting that are different from each person to each person. So an idiot will say 90-degree squats will damage everybody's knees. A smart person will say 90-degree squats may damage one person and not damage the other person based on joint lengths and ratios and vice versa, right? So me, a full squat, no matter how flexible I get, because of the way my hips are built and my joint ratios, is about 90 degrees. It isn't a parallel squat. That's full range for me. And there are some trainers out there that talk about this, some really smart guys that have models and stuff that show you basically the intricacies of how the counterbalancing works and why full squat is 90 degrees for some people. And the simplistic, mentally handicapped minds, okay, will constantly say, oh, this one size fits all because this is the way I do it. That's the way you should do it. So yeah, tell this trainer to go fuck himself. I mean, tell this trainer to hit the bricks. So good. Unless, of course, he's a really nice guy. If he's a nice guy and he just doesn't know any better and he's trying his best and you guys kind of talk back and forth and then he figures out that, oh, maybe there's a different circumstance going on, or maybe you find out maybe it is the worst thing for you. Okay, then tell him he's a really nice guy and he doesn't need to go anywhere. Okay, good. So again, I'm not there. Honestly, I'd like to joke around, but I have to be there for the actual conversation to really understand whether this person's speaking from an idiotic place or speaking from a very intelligent place. They could say the exact same thing and have a totally different intention. So again, this path is not so simplistic. It isn't. And if you are dealing with an oversimplification of a situation of somebody saying, hey, this one size fits all, there's some rules that apply to all, but a lot of rules don't when it comes down to range of motion and how people move. I mean, watch two people run. I talk about this all the time. Two different, totally different gaits. The way one person runs, their hip swale will be different, their stride will be different. All this stuff will happen. And we take that as gospel. We don't make everybody say, hey, you know what, your gait isn't exactly 15 degrees at the hip like this person is, so you're doing it wrong. Like, that doesn't happen. That discussion never even comes up. But with squats, for some reason, there's this, let's just say, it's an autistic way of seeing things as far as narrow visioned. Autistic has its genius too, but it's like looking at one parameter and hyper-focusing on that. And that's how I mean it. I don't mean it to insult any autism or anything. I'm just coming up with the wrong word maybe to describe what I'm trying to say. It's hyper-focusing on one aspect that is not the totality of what's happening. Samuel Harris, what keeps you motivated to lift? What keeps me motivated to lift is making videos, and my creativity is kind of tied up into that. Otherwise, when I was playing hockey, like, I have a lot more fun playing hockey, to tell you the truth. I have way more fun playing hockey than lifting weights. Like, if I was going to go on fun level and excitement and exercise and you hang out with the team and stuff and having a good time with that sort of collaboration, when I was doing that, I had a lot more fun from just a physical fitness point of view. And then my weight training would be around how do I perform better at the hockey rink. You know, so I'd be doing squats and doing lunges and things to get my blood flow to make sure my cardio was good in between shifts and to be able to make sure my speed was good. But how I make this fun, how I make training fun now for me, because I don't have aspirations of competing or making some sort of career to myself that way, is that I like to make videos. I love, as you guys have noticed, I've been shooting with a different camera lately and messing around with raw files, and you may notice that the colors are popping differently. There's a different type of look going on. It's because I really enjoy cinematography and I enjoy putting music together, and this bodybuilding thing allows me an excuse to do that. And it's like my own independent short films that I make all the time. So it seems like I'm just doing the bodybuilding thing, just kind of talking about just simple sort of bodybuilding stuff. But really what spurs me forward is with the weight training is saying, hey, I got to make another movie. And in order to be able to be creative, I have to look a certain way to do that. So that kind of motivates me to put it all together. Yeah. Torin Forsberg, I have a Smith machine squat video I just did a little while ago. I never did Smith machine squats, just so you know. That was never really my thing. It never felt right to me. I'm not saying it's not right for some people, but for me, it didn't feel right. I just couldn't find the proper groove where I felt most of the stress was on the legs, and it just always felt awkward. Now, that said, I want to revisit Smith machine squats again for myself. I want to do that. And thanks a lot for the $2 super chat, by the way. So thanks for that. But I'm going to revisit them again just to do different angles, like as a finisher. And I do think it can be a very relevant movement for some people, especially when they have hip or stabilizing type problems, like maybe with the hips or the back or whatever. It also allows you to not have quite so much emphasis on the lower back extension at the same time as stabilizing, you know, because when you're extending, you're still trying to stabilize and pull in a very even way. Because the Smith machine is kind of lined up a little bit, it may take a little bit of that stress off. So therefore you can concentrate on the leg and just contracting the hamstrings, glutes, and quads in a certain way. So again, it's going to be based on how you're built, but I do think there is some relevance to it. I don't think it's a waste of time. Like I would have told you 20 years ago, oh, don't do that. It's not a free weight, you know. But I did find that one-legged squats, ironically, were the best thing ever for me on the Smith machine. So yeah, I think Smith machine squats are great. I don't think they replace squats totally, but at the same time, they are an interesting dynamic that I think is worth introducing into your training. Yeah, if you keep injuring your back on barbell squats, you know, there's a number of different reasons why this might be, okay, and not all of it's your fault. So some of it might be just genetic predisposition. Another part might be your fault. Maybe you're trying to go down too low, or maybe you're rounding your back. Maybe you have some sort of muscle trigger point issue or something like that going on in your hips or in your hamstrings. Maybe your hamstrings are tight. Maybe you're training squats after deadlift days, or you're doing too much lower back work, like really hard, and then you're going to the gym expecting the lower back to stabilize properly when it's totally fatigued from the last workout. That could be another thing that's going on. And the other thing is, once you injure the ligament in the back, it takes quite a long time to heal. So if you go back to squatting too fast, then you may just keep on re-injuring the area. You're never really giving it a chance to heal. So that's another thing to consider. So I always recommend getting some massage therapy, making sure that those hamstrings are firing properly, and make sure that you're not deadlifting, you know, a day or two before you squat. Like if your hamstrings are totally tight, that's the one disclaimer with squatting. If your hamstrings are totally tight, be very careful squatting. At least go much lighter than normal if you're going to have tight hamstrings, because the hamstrings will, if they're tight, they try to round the back, and that's when your back is in danger of injury. Tom Laycock. Okay, Merry Christmas to you there, buddy. And he's asking about how much did weightlifting affect hockey, and do you think size matters as much as people say? I would say size matters, like height matters in hockey for sure. I mean, if you can reach the puck, it's a lot easier reaching the puck if you're 6'5" than it is if you're 5'8" and you've got to skate to the puck, right? So there's a certain amount of fatigue factor that goes into account. But what you must do when it comes down to any sport, and this is exactly what I'm teaching on this channel, and I'm not trying to be a parakeet here and just kind of cracker, you know, always repeat myself, but you have to use your body for its advantages and not exploit the disadvantages. So when you look at some really short, small hockey players, what they do is they find that their advantage is they can turn on a dime, they can turn fast, they have a lot more agility in that way. So because of that, they have to make sure that their cardio is on another level, so that way they can skate circles around the taller guys and things and not get hit as much. But at the same time, they're using their speed and dexterity to avoid the hits and also be in the right place at the right time. And we saw great hockey players like this, like Martin St. Louis. I mean, that guy's unbelievable. And I think he was only like 5'8" or something, if that. So the fact is that you have to use your body in a way that is an advantage to it, instead of always working against it and saying it should be functioning that way, or my game should be working that way. So weight training did affect my game in a very positive way. I was one of the fastest skaters on the ice, even though I could barely skate. But in a straight line, when I first started, I was one of the fastest skaters on the ice. I started playing with some junior guys here and there, or guys that were playing in university hockey, and they were like, wow, you are fast. Like, I had no control. That's how I dislocated my shoulder in the first year of playing when I was learning. But in time, I found that squatting, the way I squat, 90 degrees and everything, was perfect for power. I had a lot of power out of the hole. And mostly what I had to work on with my hockey was my skill set. Now, that said, upper body size, like muscles in the arms and stuff, don't help at all in hockey. I mean, that's just an extra load for you to carry around. And if anything, it just works against you, because it starts to wear you out, because your legs are trying to carry this immense amount of weight in different directions, and it really has no help whatsoever. So, yeah, I mean, strength matters. Your cardio matters, your skill matters first and foremost in hockey, and then from there, it would be the strength of the legs themselves, and how much of a foundation do you have there. You know, and that's really my opinion based on my own experience. I mean, I know that there's intricacies to this, but strength in the legs is really the most important. The legs and lower back, that's really where your strength really matters in hockey. Southside kettlebell, I wouldn't say Smith machine squats are garbage and more dangerous than regular squats. I wouldn't necessarily say that, Southside. I know you say that, but I wouldn't necessarily say that. I used to think your way, but I don't think your way anymore. I think that sometimes having a stabilized movement where you can push the muscles deeper into failure without your lower back hitting failure, because if your lower back hits failure and you still have to stabilize, that's when you are going to blow out a disc. On a Smith machine squat, you may have a tendency to have a little bit more safety because you don't have to stabilize. So there's going to be a little bit less of a fatigue load on the lower back in that case, and therefore you can push the legs deeper into failure. And for bodybuilding reasons, this can be good. And also for sports performance reasons. If you want those legs to be able to perform better and to be able to go deeper into failure, then sometimes it's good to stabilize some muscles or have some muscles not hit failure as fast as the legs. So again, you're totally wrong in this statement. I'm 100% sure of that. I'm not saying some cases there can't be exceptions, though. That's what I'm saying. But as a blanket statement that you just put, I wouldn't agree with that. Hey, Southside kettlebell. Okay, well, let me see. Yeah, Quentin. Yeah. I would say, Quentin, don't be sneaking into the gym with somebody else's card. That's probably not very nice to do. I can't really condone that. I know you're a nice guy, but I wouldn't condone doing that. I mean, yeah. I mean, I could sneak people into Murph's gym, but I don't do it because I respect the gym and I want to make sure that Kyle stays in business. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I wouldn't do that. But you know, I'm not judging. I'm just saying, you know, the world's about give and take, and sometimes if you take, yeah, it's a karma thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Okay, so Larry Naletti's asking a good question. He says, thank you for your insights. If I don't have a lot of time, is it better to do a short workout, or would that mess me up for recovery if I'm able to fit in a long workout the next day? For me, I've always found it better to fit in a short workout and then do my normal workout the next day or whatever. But I always found it's better to get what you can today instead of wait till tomorrow. Because sometimes the long workout's supposed to happen tomorrow, and then it doesn't happen tomorrow because something else happens or something else comes up. The way I really structure when I'm really serious about my training is I get what I can today. I don't look to tomorrow. I make sure I get stuff in today. Just like I talk about this when people schedule their days off and they say, okay, I'm going to schedule a day off. And then of course Sunday comes, they take their day off or whatever, or Saturday or whatever it is. And then of course the next day they're supposed to start training, they train. And then of course some unforeseeable event happens in their life and then they're forced to miss the gym. And then they still have that day off on Sunday. Like they start to lose their groove and lose their momentum. So I found if you're really a structured type person or you really want to make gains or push through a certain plateau, it's better to get in what you can now, even if it's a short workout, even if it's small. You'll realize that by getting in that small workout, it keeps that motivation and that blood flow for the next workout. So the next day when you train, you're going to have a lot better ability to push and to have a better workout because of the workout you did today that seemed like a waste of time. Okay, somebody's asking, sorry, I just, damn screen just scrolled down on me. Sorry about that. Flash Errol is saying he can only work out twice a week because of his job. Whole body workout or upper and lower body workouts? I'd say whole body workout twice a week. If that's all you can do, then I do a whole body workout twice a week. That's for sure 100% what I would do. You should know the answer to this, though, if you're watching my videos. Are you even watching my videos, Flash? Or do you just tune into the live chats, man? Huh? I want an honest answer here. I know you're scared of the shovel, but I want an honest answer. Okay, thoughts on drop sets. I started doing them and it feels amazing. Even hours after the workout ended, still feel a pump in the zone worked. Okay. Yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with that. Every technique where you put the muscle to deep failure is great as far as like the results that you can get from it. But there's a point of diminishing return. Like there's going to be a point to where you're going to be like, okay, I did drop sets this workout and I did drop sets the next workout and did drop sets like for 2 weeks from now and 3 weeks from now, 4 weeks from now. And then you're going to realize that, holy shit, like I'm not getting the same feeling from it anymore. Sometimes doing something new is what gives you that massive pump. It's not necessarily the technique itself as much as it is a different type of stimulus to the system. So yeah, I think drop sets are a valid tool and they're great for pushing that muscle deeper into failure, but they're not going to consistently always work the exact same way. That's all I'm saying. That's why sometimes you'll see me do drop sets, sometimes you'll see me not do drop sets. It's sometimes just a matter of what seems to be working at the time or what seems to feel right. Yeah, so continue it, but you can overdo it. You can burn yourself out a little bit. So that's why you don't see people doing it all the time, right? Joseph, saw my video today. What do I consider high, medium, low, and low rep ranges? Yeah, Joseph, 100%. Okay, so he's saying he saw my video today and he says, what are my definition of high, medium, and low reps? And if low reps are causing too much joint pain, can you alternate between medium and high reps without ever going too heavy? I would say, yeah. I mean, you can. I mean, there are people that do this and they do get results. It's just a matter of working with your own system. Like I talked about hockey, work with your own limitations, work with your own body, find a way. That's really the best thing I can tell you is find a way to get results, but not pulverize your body. So if something's pulverizing your body, that cannot be the right thing for you. It can't be the right thing for you, not in this moment. Maybe later it is, but right now it is not. So don't push through it. Do something that is feeling right. That's what I would say. So low reps, I would say, are around 5 reps. 5 reps to 8 reps in that area, that's low reps. Medium reps is anywhere from, I know this is going to seem weird because I went 5 to 8 as low reps, and I'm going to kind of skip a few reps here and say what medium reps are. But medium reps is about 10 to 15, 10 to 20 reps in that area. And high reps are like 20 to 35, 40 reps, in that area. That's really high reps. So what I would say, and my definition changes, but this is generally what I go by. So anyway, it'll change also in the movement. That's the other thing. And that's why it's interesting for me to bring this up. My definition of high reps, low reps and stuff will change depending on the movement, because what happens is some movements are harsher on the system than others. Squats and deadlifts are way harsher on the system than bicep curls or bench presses. And that's a freaking fact, because there's just too many things that can go wrong in deadlifts and stuff. So my definition of a low rep deadlift set is around 8 reps. Really, that's the lowest I would ever go if I was a person that was deadlifting, is 8 reps, 7 reps tops. Unless, of course, you're doing sets of 2 or 3 and you're not going to failure. You've got a lot more left in the tank and you're just trying to explode from the floor. That's a different scenario. But I'm talking about to positive failure, where you can't do another rep. 8 reps is definitely the heaviest I would go in something like that. And that's why you see me with squats. I'm always well above 10 reps. I do my 90-degree squats, whatever, but it's always well above 10 reps in my sets, because it's just a much more dangerous movement. And once you've tweaked yourself a few times with some of these dangerous movements, you realize, okay, this movement goes by its own set of rules. There are certain movements that just go by their own sets of rules. And to apply the exact same rep range to each movement meanwhile, one movement's way more dangerous than another, it would be silly, right? So that's why I don't give exact recommendations for rep ranges for everything. I do change it up depending on what exercise I'm referring to. Yeah, okay, Quentin Baker, capital letters, they gave it to me, they don't use it. Yeah, but you didn't pay for the membership, right? And I don't know, they should just cancel their membership and then they should buy you a membership for Christmas. That's what they should do, Quentin. Okay, let me see here. Nicholas Myers, ever go on a cardio kick like a cardio gangster? Not really. I'm not really much into running and stuff. I find that just kills my knees and joints and stuff and doesn't really feel right. I feel flat. I feel worn out when I train. Like it just goes against me. My body doesn't necessarily like it. It's not that I never went into cardio when I was doing martial arts or when I was doing a lot of hockey. Then, of course, I was doing cardio, but that was more sports activity that just started to become cardio. But I don't get too interested in doing massive amounts of cardio. It's not really my interest, for sure. Yeah, NHL great, Rick Nash in the house, no big deal. Exactly. Yeah, I wish. Yeah, Rick Nash is a good player. Yeah, I just watched a highlight of his the other night, actually. Yeah, where's the bike? What bike? What bike are you talking about, Kevin? Kevin, I see your comment. What bike? I don't know what you're talking about. There's no bike in here. There's no bike. I don't know what a JM press is there, Thomas. Yeah, GS or G Shirka. Yeah, I don't know what you mean by bike. Wife's bike. There's no bike in this garage. I don't even know what you're talking about. What's the weather like, Joel? Okay, Joel's asking me what the weather like. It's raining like crazy outside, which is why you've seen my last few videos. I'm actually filming in the garage because outside it's just like if I set the camera out, not only is it freezing because it's about 4 or 5 degrees above zero right now, but at the same time I'm getting wet. The camera's getting rained on. The focus isn't working. The lens is getting wet. Everything's working against me when it rains. So that's why I'm not doing a lot of videos outside in this moment. And we're kind of under a rain warning right now, so there's probably gonna be a lot more days of rain. But once it dries up, then I'll be outside again. So don't worry. It's not always going to be inside videos, but I like to mess things up. You know, I always change things up, and sometimes I gotta avoid. Well, let's just face it. It's not because I'm trying to avoid Mr. G. I'm not scared of him. I'm not scared of Mr. G. You know, I do encounter him every time I go outside the house, but that doesn't mean I'm scared of that. I'm not scared of Mr. G. I'll be fine. I'll be fine. That has nothing to do with why I'm filming inside. Just so you know. So I'm just scrolling through. Hey guys, if you want me to see your question for sure, just do a super chat. I know a lot of you guys don't want to support the channel and stuff. Some of you guys are already supporting the channel, so I appreciate that. But that means I can see your comment right away or your question. Otherwise, that kind of gets lost in this big list. Okay, so I'm not trying to ignore you on purpose just because you're not giving me money either, just so you know that. It's just that sometimes I can't see it because I'm just trying to move through here. So. And if you're going to ask me about other YouTubers, just know that I won't comment on other YouTubers. I mean, this is not a gossip column. This is not like, you know, there's some nice people on the internet, whatever. There's some good people, and you know, some of them, I'll still not make comments about them because it's like then if I don't make a comment about somebody else, then I must hate them, you know, or something like that. So there's no, I don't use this channel that I've been working at 8 years for to promote other people either, just so you know. Like I don't sit here and say, hey, go check this guy out. Because, you know, like, why would I work 8 years for free to promote somebody else's channel too? So there's a certain level of, I don't talk about other YouTubers unless they really piss me off, you know, like, or they're basically taking, you know, slander attacks at me and I need to defend myself. That's a different thing too. But I on purpose don't really comment on other people. When people say, hey, what do you think about this person? What do you think about that person? There's just really no reason for me to comment. I'm here to share what I know to be true. I'm here to show you what worked, what I know, what my experience has shown, and for you to use some of that experience to benefit you in whatever way it might. I'm not saying for sure everything I say is going to be absolutely applicable to you, and that's the other thing I teach here, is that each person has their own individual constitution, and some things work better than others, right? So we're here to discuss that, and not to gossip about other people. So people are always asking me, do you think this person's natural and that person this and that person? No, I'm not going to talk about it. It's just a waste of time. There's no win in it for me, I'll tell you that. All I do is become a target for other people's hate. That's it. You know what I'm saying? So even if I say something that's true, I just get targeted and hate from it. And then how does that help me continue to do this YouTube thing? It doesn't help me. It basically just causes a bunch of problems. So that's why I don't do it. Yeah, just so you know too, this isn't a platform for you to advertise your own channels, just so you know. So it's kind of rude for people to say, hey, look at me, I'm starting my own YouTube channel. Really? Piss off, honestly. People are funny. It's like going into another person's store and then just start to market your own products. They're like, hey, why don't you come to my store? I got better food down the street, but I'm opening up tomorrow. Come check it out. It's like, come on. I mean, it's just called being polite. You know what I mean? How much water do I drink a day? Up to a gallon a day. Feel better than ever. Realize that I've been dehydrated most of my life. Really feel amazing. Well, you know what, Gary Duarte or Duarte. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. I do recognize your name as a longtime subscriber. So thanks for being here, Gary. Still, you've been with me through the shit through a long time, man. You've been here a long time. So yeah, I drink. I probably drink about a gallon a day of water. I probably do because I'm always refilling the water and drinking it down. I'm constantly doing that. The filtered water that we have here. We have our own filtration system to take some of the heavy metals and chlorine out of the water and everything. And yeah, no, I drink quite a bit. I can hear Christmas music outside down the street. Somebody has some lights up and there's just this subtle Christmas music going on. It's kind of nice to actually listen to. If you're really quiet, you can hear it. Low or high carb for fat loss. Well, depends what you mean by high carb. Obviously, if you have too much carbs, you would put on body fat. Now, if you have a super fast metabolism, you can get away with higher carbs than say somebody else, right? Because just cutting down the fat in your diet will be enough calorie restriction through macros, through the energy foods, where you will lose body fat. So my first thing is, if you're going to cut, find out, are you actually cutting? Are you losing body fat? And if you can get away with just cutting out some of the saturated fats and cutting down on the bad fats, and basically just taking in a little bit of fat every day and keeping those carbs high, you're going to keep an immense amount of muscle. But if at some point you find that's no longer working, you're going to have to cut the carbs down a bit too. Okay, Noah Carl Fraser is saying something. What are you saying there, Noah? I'm trying to scroll up here to see what you're saying. You said I'm awesome, so I have to basically answer you now. Okay, you said your back felt like crap, and then you just needed some time off to rest and recover. Good. Yeah, good. Yeah, sometimes you need to rest. You know, it's not always rocket science. Sometimes you just need to rest. That is true. Sometimes rest is good. I found more so for myself. I guess rest would be good in some cases. Like some places seem to heal good when I take a whole month off or something. But I find a lot of times it's more like there's an issue going on in the body that just needs to be fixed. Like maybe there's a trigger point or a muscle knot or something like that, or a ligament issue. I need to take care of that through seeing the proper person, like maybe going to Chinese medicine and get some acupuncture, or maybe going to a massage therapist or whatever, right? But basically I need to do that or fix a deficiency in, say, some minerals. Maybe I'm not getting enough magnesium in, something like that. And then from there, I find the problem seems to fix itself. It's not as much rest with me as sometimes people always blame. They always blame I just didn't rest enough. It's not always the case, but if that is the case, you're a lucky person. So that's good. Yeah, just take the rest and heal. JD, what do I think of nucleus overload training the same muscle every day for a certain period of time? Watch my playlist on this channel. This is your homework, Pushing the Limits. You'll see what I think about it. MMA Renegade, any plans for entering another bodybuilding contest? Not at this point there, MMA. I know I saw your message on Facebook. Sorry I haven't got back to you. I've just been busy doing videos and stuff. You know what the problem is with bodybuilding is that you're being judged by things you can't control, right? So say my shoulder dislocation, one shoulder is a little bit off compared to the other, you'll be judged on that. I can't change that. There's nothing I can change about it. And I figured, what's the point of getting on stage if I'm just going to be judged based on stuff I can't control? So I use this YouTube channel as my bodybuilding show, really. And I basically use it as my accountability platform to make sure I stay in shape or, constantly train and all that. and also to add extra enthusiasm to what I'm doing, because anytime I add laughter or comedy to something, then it becomes fun, right? So I was more like the Arnold type, in a way where I would be constantly cracking jokes or smart ass type shit in the gym. Like that would kind of be how I would get through the pain in the gym and have fun there. It was not as much about I got to be alpha no matter what type idea that is sometimes driven in the fitness industry right now. So yeah, whatever makes things fun for me is really what I want to do. Now, doing a bodybuilding show, it's also important to note that if I did a bodybuilding show, your entire life just shuts down for 3 or 4 months. And for me, it'd be 6 months, because I have to try to get myself in a certain shape and then diet down and make sure I maintain as much muscle as possible. And because your whole life shuts down, it kills the creativity endeavors. Like your mind just gets dead, right? Because you're doing the lower carb thing. You're just constantly just living for the next meal and the next training session. And because of this, it doesn't really allow me to do what I truly want to do, which is more this video stuff, this making music and all that kind of play. I'm doing comedic clips like Mr. G and fun stuff like that. I don't get inspiration as much from just getting a trophy. Let's put it that way. It doesn't really do much for me. I know that maybe my subscribership will go up and maybe my credibility, maybe people will, oh yeah, now you're a real bodybuilder because now I saw you compete through the whole process, right? Instead of just you were in the magazines and stuff. But I have to go with where my passion is, and also what I have to spend my energy, let's just put it this way, in an efficient way. And if I just throw my energy in one direction and it just basically drains me, it doesn't necessarily rejuvenate or bring energy to me, right? So yeah, so I don't have any plans at this point. I don't know what will happen in the future. If I just get in shape and I'm just in such great shape, I could just walk on stage, and then maybe that might be a different thing. But yeah, I'm not living the same life that some people live in LA, right? Where they're always one photo shoot away from a contract or making money from some company, and they're getting paid. Like I'm not getting paid for this, so it's kind of a different thing too. Where a lot of these other guys, they glorify the lifestyle they're doing because they're basically getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to maintain that shape and to do photo shoots and stuff. And yeah, but it's not exactly that's not my vehicle, right? I'm not in that, So yeah, but you never know. I never say never, but I'm kind of like Sean Connery and James Bond, like never say never. But at the same time, I don't have any plans at this point. Zeke or Zeke or Zik. He goes, he hates low carb diets. What's your opinion about low carb? Well, sometimes low carb is necessary. I know some girls that I trained for a show. One girl I trained when I was first starting off and I knew that the low fat thing worked for me. So I thought, okay, for sure, she's gonna get some benefit. And I'm gonna answer the super chat real quick here as soon as I can find it. So sorry if I haven't answered it right away. But basically, she was on a low carb diet. It didn't work for her. She showed up and she just did not lose the body fat for the show and natural bodybuilding show. So she had to go low carb. So it's a matter of what works. It's always about what works. Don't do something because it's, somebody believes this, somebody believes that. We are in a belief problem world right now. People have beliefs. It's just beliefs all over the fucking place. And then they basically read this study, they read that study, they read this in the newspaper. Then they say, okay, the collective amount of people around me who are fucking stupid probably believe this, so I should believe that. Beliefs mean nothing. Just throw fucking beliefs out the door. Throw all beliefs out the door. Throw all the information you read out the door and say, okay, what is working? And actually have the courage and willpower and discipline to make your own progress and basically do your own experiment. But what a lot of people do is they're saying, I'm so afraid to put out the effort. I'm so fucking lazy. I don't want to try anything unless for sure it's going to work, right? Well, you know what? You're never going to accomplish anything like that. This is coming from Grandpa Jason here. Grandpa Jason telling you shit, right? Okay, this is the truth. This is the absolute truth. If you were trying to wait for the perfect scenario for shit to happen, you will never be a person who is a innovator. Do you understand? You'll never innovate because you're always going to do what has been done and doing the safe path of what should work. But that doesn't mean it's going to work for you. And that also does not mean that you're going to find a new, even better way of doing something. So this is the wisest shit, like words I could give you. Honestly, if you take these in, you're really going to find your path. And I'm telling you, it will apply to a lot of different aspects of your life, not just what I'm saying about training. Mountain. Okay. All right, let's go to the super chat. Somebody just sent me a super chat. Okay, let me see here. Where is it? Gary, oh, thanks for the $5. Thanks, Gary Duarte. Thanks, buddy. Okay, I see there's some people that are trying to get into our conversation that have been banned and blocked before. Hey, haha! Not so smart now, are you? No, some of these guys not so smart, just trying to be smart asses and send hate comments. No. All right, okay, here we go. Okay, Raymond, better to cut carbs or increase cardio for fat loss? You know, I'm still trying to decide that. And I think, again, it would depend on the person, the metabolism at the time, and the age you're at, and whatever. But what I found was that there was a point to where cardio seemed to work, but it's almost like I was better off spending that time weight training and then adjusting my diet, and I was holding on to more size when I went into a show. But I cannot be certain about this because, you know, every single moment is different than the last. So I know some people that really say you should have more carbs to have that protein sparing effect. And because when you're doing that cardio, you're burning a percentage of fats, a percentage of carbs, a percentage of protein, right? And if you do it at the right intensity, then a higher percentage of this will be fats. So there is an argument, there is, for the people that do say you're better off having a higher amount of carbohydrates, like low glycemic, like good quality carbs, but doing more cardio. I do believe that that is a possibility for that to also work. So I think it would be on an individual per individual basis, but there's nothing wrong with that. But as long as you're not using it as a get out of jail free card to eat as much carbs as you want, because that would be the opposite side of the spectrum where people are saying, hey, I'm going to just eat whatever I want. I'm going to just, you know, just carb it up, you know, nothing but bags of rice cakes and stuff like that. So in the end, it's whatever works. It's worth a try. I would say it's a more pleasant way to conduct a diet. That would be a more pleasant way to do it, I would say. Thoughts on collagen supplements? Yeah, they could be good. I guess they could be good. Yeah, I don't have anything against them. Collagen is supposed to be good for rejuvenation and everything, so I could see some relevance to it. I'm not a doctor or a naturopath or anything like that, but I've heard a lot of good things about collagen. Yeah. Thanks, Nikok. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce your Russian name. I think it's Russian, right? So yeah, thanks for tuning into my videos and stuff. So, and thanks to all of you who have shared my videos this week or helped me out. It's been a real grind. YouTube's not really promoting my platform anymore, I've noticed. So I'm totally dependent on you guys to share my stuff. Otherwise, it just doesn't ever grow. So thanks to that. So every time you do share something, it does help me. Whether you share it on a website or whether you share it into some sort of bulletin board somewhere on some sort of fitness site somewhere, you know, these things help. You know, use my videos as conversations. Hey guys, what do you think about this concept or that? That really helps me out because there is the odd person that is open enough to understand what it is I'm doing instead of just judging by the first 2 seconds of the, the intro. So thanks. Okay. Okay, so Scott is trying to be a smart ass, which I enjoy. I enjoy the smart ass. When you wipe after using the toilet, do you crumple the toilet paper, fold it, or wrap it around your head? I usually wrap it around my head, and I kiss my own ass, and that somehow I come out clean somehow. Gypsy Brown, you have small arms. Thank you. Are resistant bands worth working out with? I think so. Yeah, they're definitely so. They're different type of tension, right? So that can kind of fool the muscle and stuff. A lot of times, the way people use resistance bands mostly though is to change the place where the resistance is the most. So, say in a bench press, maybe you have a certain area where you want to increase the load, but not have the danger of the stretch. So you put some bands on the weights. Not only does it increase the stability type stuff because the bands, you know, cause an unstable environment to a point, but when you get closer to the top, what happens is there's more tension. So therefore you are overloading the extension or the lockout. So in that case, I think resistance bands can be good. I'm just too lazy to use them, to tell you the truth. I don't really use them that much, if barely ever. So, but they're definitely good when it comes down to rotator cuff type stuff. Things where you want to use small amounts of tension, but the tension should be more in the contraction and not on the stretch. So say I'm doing external rotation on dumbbell rotator cuff exercise for the infraspinatus. If I'm laying on my side, a lot of the tension is down here during the stretch part, but there's not as much tension up here on the muscle, right? That's the opposite of what a band will do. A band will give you more tension here and a little bit less here, which is safer, especially in the case of rotator cuff injuries and things. So in that case, I think bands are great. Yeah. Yeah, H. Laker, he says, I think some carbs are different, such as oatmeal. I can eat plenty of it, lots of carbs, but better for fat loss, probably because of fiber. I think fiber is overlooked sometimes. For sure, H. Laker, fiber and glycemic index plays a big role. Also with your own individual digestive system, what's going on with your system, whether you're able to digest certain types of carbs more than others. Some people have reactions or subtle let's say allergic reactions or sensitivities to certain foods, so they bloat up right away, or they have a different type of blood sugar reaction than maybe somebody else. So there are certain foods that seem to work much better. So yeah, you can't just say a macro is a macro. I've talked about this. Macro is not even a macro when it comes to carbs. Certain foods will just react differently in your system. Some will be very anabolic for you, and some will be a little bit more of a challenge for you. It'll be more like a sugar rush, but not necessarily a sustainable energy. So yeah, you're going to have to experiment with some foods. So one of the best ways to do this is just to cut all carbs out of your diet and just have one type of carb and see how you feel for a period of time, and then introduce a different carb and work with that for a period of time and see how different you feel in your workouts. That's a great way to do it. How many muscle groups, in your opinion, should we train separately in the back? You know, I just train rows, just rowing movements, and lat pull down type movements. And maybe that if you have good shoulders or something, no dislocated shoulder like me, like maybe a dumbbell pull over or a pull down, like a lat squeeze type movement with the lat bar. Basically, you're doing like a swimmer's type row where your arms are slightly bent and you're just doing this right to the waist. That is a good lat isolation. But yeah, that's about it. I mean, the thing is with trap movements, you get a lot of traps when you do bent over rows, but you also get a lot of trap movement when you're doing external rotation with a shoulder type work, right? So there's some trap development there. If you're doing your standing shoulder presses, I talked to some guy on Instagram about this a little while ago. He was saying, hey, what about traps? Do traps get overworked? And I said, well, I never really had that experience where traps were so sore and they needed to recover for the next workout or anything. Like say I had sore traps, it wasn't getting in the way of me doing shoulder presses. I could still do them fine without having overwhelming pain, right? But if you're doing shoulder presses over the head and you're actually locking out back, like never lock out like this, but like say you're coming back above the head, which I don't do that much because I notice I get a lot of trap in that. And I want to just hit the shoulders, right? Which is why you see me like this, but not doing this movement. This movement is fine, but it's going to work a different part of that structure, which is, something that you can concentrate on. But yeah, if you do that, you're going to get a lot of trap work there too. Yeah, Ricky, I don't talk about other YouTubers. I already talked about that earlier in the thing. You might have missed that part of my cast, but I already gave the lecture on that. Kung Fu kickboxer powerlifters use bands, bodybuilders don't. Well, yeah, maybe. It's to a point. I guess maybe generally speaking, that's true because powerlifters are trying to get through those weak parts of their range of motion, and they're trying to overload that sometimes, or they're doing the opposite. Sometimes they're trying to lift heavier weight and overload the area that they're already stronger in, and then basically get through that part that they're already strong in more easily, right? So. Franco Goldstein, best diet for a photo shoot. I don't know, man. 2 weeks is a little bit quick for a photo shoot. For you to, it depends on where you're starting at. Pipper gets major abdominal distension after eating anything. Tips? Well, you might have some sort of acidophilus type issue, like where your gut bacteria is not functioning properly, or maybe you're having a reaction to some food. But if it's every single type of food, maybe it's maybe you had food poisoning before, or maybe your gut flora is not balanced. Maybe you need to start taking some acidophilus or some different types of supplements to balance that out. I'm not really the expert in that area. You'd see a naturopath or something. They could probably help you out with that. Metal Man, how you doing there, buddy? Okay. Okay, social media moron. That's actually his name. You're taking 2 weeks off because of a cold. How would you change a diet from lean bulk to when you take a short time off training? Well, after I take time off from training, like say I'm sick and I come back, I just eat whatever I need to in order to get back in the groove and get some energy. I just throw the diet out the door for a day or two just to get my energy back. And then from there, I start to eat bodybuilding wise as far as what I think is going to help me have energy for the workout. But, you know, there's some people that are hardcore. They won't have chicken soup or anything like that because they're sick and they feel like, oh, I don't want the fat content. No, I throw that out the door. Just get yourself healthy first. Then from there, start working with the muscles and stuff. But there's something to be said for eating fats and nourishing the body at some points, right? So if you've just been sick, then it's time to nourish because you've probably lost a little bit of weight if you haven't been eating and all that too. Is there a need for 10 rep sets if the 20 to 80 range feels so good? Well, okay, feels so good, but okay, let's talk about feeling for a second. Feeling is good. It's definitely something that I encourage is to go with the feeling as well. But also you have to go with what is producing results too. So if the feeling is good, but the results aren't there, then maybe your feeling is a little bit skewed. Maybe you're looking for a certain type of feeling, which isn't necessarily into the feeling that is going to create muscle mass, right? So it depends what your goal is. But yeah, if you're just doing it for exercise, 20 to 80 reps are fine. And you can gain some muscle mass from 20 to 80 reps. I'm not saying you can't, but you may feel, well, let's just say not feel, it may be necessary, let's just say, to do a little bit heavier from time to time. And I do find it has so much value. Now, how much you do that is different per person. I find even with bench, like I've been stuck in my garage and I've been really enjoying dumbbell bench lately, and I only have 100-pound dumbbells. And I've been staying in the 15 to 25 rep range for a long time for dumbbells, and I'm extending the range all the way down, like just messing around or whatever, because I don't have heavier dumbbells, which is fine. But when I go to the gym, then I'll do a bit heavier with a barbell bench, because I found when I do barbell bench in my garage, it's kind of skewed off to the side, so it kind of throws off my groove and everything. But when I go to the gym, then sometimes I'll do a 10 rep set or 8 reps or 12, you know, something like that, something a little bit heavier. And I find that adds a little bit of a stimulus to my system, and it seems to help me grow. But if I just stick to high reps all the time, like I did an experiment where I was doing just nothing but 50 rep sets for a period of time, and I actually shrank, and people were saying, wow, you lost weight. You're eating okay? Like, what's going on? Like, they were just asking, like, what's going on with your training? And I was doing 50 rep sets, and I actually lost size because that's all I was doing. I wasn't throwing in heavy weight. So yeah, if you're losing muscle mass, you definitely know there's something you need to look at or address, right? But if you're not, if you're gaining muscle, then just stick with it. If you're gaining muscle, then there's nothing wrong with it, right? The honest critic, I'm about 5'8" and about 205. My body fat percentage is around 10 or 12% right now. Yeah, it's higher than I'd like it to be, but that's because I've been enjoying a little bit too much chocolate. Ricky Field, when he has a day off the gym, he keeps feeling tired, but when he's working out again, he feels way better. Well, it's because he's got the blood flowing. It's called endorphins, right? Yeah. Top video games of all time. Okay, my top video games of all time. That's a tough one. Because if we're going to talk about top video games, I would say One game that I really liked was Metal Gear Solid on the PlayStation. I think it was the PlayStation 1 or PlayStation 2. I can't remember which one it was. There was PlayStation, just PlayStation. That was a great game. That was really fun to play. And then there was also a one on Super Nintendo, and I can't, Out of This World. I think it was called Out of This World. That was a really neat game. I really enjoyed that game. Yeah, but I can't think of 5. I mean, I like playing Call of Duty or Star Wars type stuff, whatever. But it's games that were truly great experiences are probably those role playing type games. Like one was called Dungeons and Dragons or Bard's Tale. Actually, Bard's Tale on the Commodore 64. When I was a teenager, I played that game, and that was like, it was nothing but a text scroller, but you basically would go up in skills and you have this whole party and they go up in levels and stuff. It was like Dungeons and Dragons, but it was just, that was the most fun game ever. I will say that's like one of the top ever. That was a really neat experience. It was kind of like a book / video game all at once, but at the same time, it was like with scores and stuff. It was really good. Hard to describe. Honestly, in this day and age, people would probably be bored with it, but it was it had a very neat atmosphere to it when you played it. It really felt like you were immersed in a different world. My boyfriend Cream Pies, what's your 2-mile run time? If you have to run 2 miles, it means you're not big enough, because what are you running from? Huh? What are you running from? I don't run 2 miles. StarCraft also is a great one. Yeah, StarCraft is also a great game. Yeah. My body fat's probably around 12% right now, probably around there. Probably around, yeah. It's higher than I like it. I'm actually cleaning up my diet a little bit, but it's Christmas time coming and stuff like that. So it's also because I wasn't training legs as hard lately, but now I'm getting back more in the groove. I still train them, but I wasn't really pushing myself. So yeah, it just depends. I go through stages too of enthusiasm with training. I still love it, but sometimes your body's going through certain shifts and stuff, and sometimes I have to work with that. Yeah, sometimes there's times to push the body and sometimes there's times to rest a little bit and basically maintain, you know what I'm saying? So yes, ever considered trying a plant-based diet? It doesn't work for me. The minute I start eating just nothing but plants, it doesn't work. It just flatten out and die. It's not working. It doesn't work for me. I don't believe all the bullshit. People say, "Oh, it's the best thing." Or it's like, I believe my own experience. That's what I believe. Yeah, my boyfriend Cream Pie, me. Your guys' effing names. It's just like, my God, like I have to say them out loud, and it's almost pornographic to even say it. So yeah, for the Army PT test, yeah. Well, then you got to do that. Hey, I guarantee you, if there's somebody has a gun behind me, you'll see me run 2 miles very fast. Guaranteed, 100%. It'll be the fastest 2 miles you ever saw. But I try not to do it, so I don't run. Any good exercise for the quad sweep? Well, funny enough, the best exercise for quad sweep is the one where your stance is medium and you're doing like 90 degrees squats. That's pretty much it for a lot of people. Again, you're not in front of me. I can't cater the exercise depending on who you are, but that would be the best thing for the quad sweep. Something like that. When people start going more straight up and down, they don't bend over a bit. That also causes more medialis development. But when you bend over during the squat, then you get a little bit more of the quad sweep happening. This is very general. Don't hold me to this exactly, because again, it's going to be different for each person, but these are generalities that I'm just saying. Hey, Jason, my arms are 16.5 inches and I feel like a fool. Ain't no thing working to grow them. Yeah, well, it takes time there, Andrew. And sometimes people will say that, hey, I'm growing in one area and then the other areas aren't growing, and then they think they're doing something wrong. Well, that's just how the body goes. The body will just grow in one area. Like I went through growth spurts in my life where all of a sudden one area of my body would grow, but the rest would just kind of lag behind and it just wouldn't grow. So you have to kind of sometimes be patient too. Let some areas grow that are growing. It's like nurturing the plants that are growing instead of just concentrating on the field that is fallow or that there's nothing growing in it, right? Just nourish the areas that are growing. Keep on training the other areas, of course, too. But it's normal for the body to grow in one area or another. I'm from Western Canada. Metal Man, you liked Asteroids on Atari? You know what? I didn't mind the game. I mean, if we're going to talk about stand-up, like arcade cabinet type stuff, I liked Rampage. I liked Star Wars. I like the Star Wars game. like back in the day. I liked what other game? Oh, I liked 1941, and I liked Off Road, like and Super Sprint. Those types of games, those were fun. And I liked any of the front shooting games. You know, like I can't remember some of the names, but those are fun too, right? So yeah, I liked a lot of the Ghosts and Goblins was a great game too, stuff like that. The heaviest I've been is 212. DJ Yankov, is squatting once a week enough because it's taxing on the nervous system? I found it was never enough for me. If you find it's enough, you still make results, or you keep your results, and you still seem to have strength, and you feel fine every time you get in the gym, fine. But me, if I squatted or just trained legs once a week, I always found that I felt like, you know, thrown up in a bucket every time. It just felt like such a shock to the system. It was only once I started training legs more often that it seemed to feel more right. It felt like I found a groove, and it felt like, okay, I'm on rails. You know what I'm saying? It felt like the groove was there. It was solid, and I wasn't dealing with so much tweaks and stuff. I didn't feel so much nausea just training legs, right? So it felt better for me to squat more often, or at least to train legs more often, for sure. Okay, Ippo 789. He does a program 5x5, just starting a strength program for bodybuilding. Where we avoid squats due to an injury to the glutes, can you do it? Can you replace with leg press? Well, you can. Replace would be the wrong word. You can put leg press in there, but it's not going to give you the same results as squats, because there's not a lot of there's no hip extension in leg press, right? So in the end, you may need a different exercise than that. So it's not the exact same. That's my main point. Some people do get great results with leg press. Not going to say that doesn't happen, but I will say for me, leg press never really worked, not even close to the same as squat or anything with hip extension. But I am a very hip extension dominant type of physique or body type, so it might be different for you. How many sets per session for squats? Well, DJ, I have workout programs on my website. I outline sets and reps and everything there that I generally do. But yeah, anywhere around four to 6 sets, somewhere around there is fine. But it depends on the frequency, depends on how often. I mean, if you've been tuning in this channel, which I know you have, you should know that it always depends on how often you're training legs too. How's it going there, Ann Strength? How you doing, buddy? Sai Kevin, do you do tissue work, like massage or myofascial release therapy, things like that, to counter tightness from repetition work? Yeah, I do massage. That's what I just talked about earlier. I do massage here and there. I do it. Yeah. Biceps peak is genetic for sure, 100%. But can you change the illusion a little bit based on one maybe head being hit more than another? Maybe. But I think the peak or the general shape is going to be the same. Well, Ippo is saying, what can I do besides 5x5 squats that are there 3 times a week? I don't know. It depends what you want. I mean, what do you want to do? You're doing it for bodybuilding? So you're doing it for leg growth or something? I'd say lunges. Lunges would be better. Lunges would be better. One-legged squats or walking lunges, something like that. It wouldn't be 5x5 though, because if you're doing 5 reps on a lunge or something like that, that's an injury waiting to happen, because there's such a stretch in the groin and everything, and sometimes instability. But I would do something like that. But of course, you've got a glute injury, so that might not necessarily be the best thing for your glutes, because there's a lot of glute activation, especially in a walking lunge. So you're a bit kind of screwed right now. I mean, it depends on where that injury is and how it hurts you and when it hurts you. And yeah, if anything to do with putting weight on your back and doing any sort of hip extension hurts, which is what the glute does with the hamstring, it would make sense that you just can't do anything besides leg press. So I would say leg press is probably one of your only things. And of course, leg extension and leg curls. But leg extension, leg curls, you shouldn't be doing 5x5 on, because that'll blow your kneecaps through the ceiling, right? So don't be doing that. Will you go back on stage and continue your Broadway acting career? I've never had an acting career really, but yeah, well, you know, honestly, my life is just a random bunch of accidents. So you never know what'll happen. I don't know. I don't know what'll happen. I'm not aspiring to be an actor or anything like that. Just like I was never aspiring to be a YouTuber, never aspiring to be a meditation teacher, never aspiring to do any of this stuff. It just happened. Somehow it happened to me. I was aspiring to be a natural bodybuilding champion and all that. That was kind of my path in life at some point, but then all of a sudden all that stuff fell away and then other random things started happening. So I would not be surprised if I make a short film one day, which is why I'm doing so much video, and I'm actually doing learning color correction. I'm learning how to make music and soundtracks. I would not be surprised if I made a documentary or an actual movie, like a film. That would not be a surprise to me if that happened. Shooting music videos, I've done a few of those. Like it wouldn't be surprising. I mean, my skill set has to increase from where it is now, but I wouldn't be surprised if stuff like that happened. And due to not being able to find actors and stuff, then I'd end up having to act in it myself. Like who knows? I don't know. We'll see. So it's like, how often do you ride the bike? I don't know what bike you're talking about. There's no such thing as a bike. I don't have any bike around here. There's no bike. Bronze Boomer, hi Jason. How often do you include cardio exercises? Is it necessary to include into the workout schedule? According to everybody, it is necessary. According to everybody, they say, yeah, cardio can help increase healing and increase, not only just cardiovascular activity, but also blood flow to the area. A lot of people say this. I don't do it. I don't like to do it. I just never do it. I just rather do a couple sets of exercises or something like that. I'm not saying that what I'm doing is the best. It probably would be the best to do some sort of cardio, constant tension cardio being the best, like riding a bike or something. But yeah, I find that I just spend my time training and then I get out and do some video editing and stuff instead. So yeah, I mean, I use my energy very efficiently, let's put it that way. But yeah, I mean, there have been times where when I was getting ready for a show and I was doing cardio, I did notice that there was some different feeling in the body that was also good too. So yeah, I would say that it's if you have the time, why not? Yeah, for sure. Can you tell the difference between tricep muscle pain, the lower head by the elbow, and actually elbow? Yeah, I can tell the difference, 100%. Yeah, it's totally different type of pain. Yeah. Yeah, Kung Fu Kickboxer, you're saying shoot a natty bodybuilding documentary. The funny thing is, though, is that with anything, this is the big struggle point. And you know what, through talking to you guys, and who knows what will happen through connections, because I've had some people reach out to me and say how to get my music into film and different agencies and things to use, or online sort of apps and things. And online sites. What I could say with a documentary or making a film, the biggest struggle I would have is like anything is how do you monetize it? How do you get the budget for it? And then how do you make it a profitable endeavor instead of losing money on it, right? So shooting a natural bodybuilding documentary on some unknown dude named Jason Gallant, nobody give a shit about, you know what I'm saying? But if like I was some sort of famous dude, and then you shoot that, then all of a sudden maybe people would want to watch it. And then because people want to watch it, then it would be worth buying. So it's a matter of everything's business in that way. So a lot of times people say, hey, just do something and like just make a movie and then it automatically has an audience. Well, that's not really the way it works. A lot of times movies, the reason why they sign stars to their movie is because that makes it distributable. Do you understand? So if I put somebody that's well known, like that has their own following, like say The Rock, right? And I put him in a documentary and he's going to be signed on. Then when I go to sell this film to somebody, then they're like, well, wow, he has already got fans. It's like he has his own social media following. So people are automatically going to line up at the movie theater to go watch that thing. So instantaneously, we're guaranteed to get a certain amount of money back. So that's kind of the way film works. Now, if I had millions and millions of followers on YouTube and millions of like, say 10 million people, whatever, like then of course, yeah, if I make some sort of documentary, people are like, hey, I recognize that guy from YouTube. Okay, I'll watch that thing on Netflix or whatever. And then there would be some reason for that documentary to exist, right? So that's kind of the thing. So I'm still learning the ins and outs and sometimes open to suggestions and just through talking to people and networking about how this all works. But through these different creative endeavors, you have to find a way to make it monetizable. You have to find a way to, because you just put something in a film festival. First of all, you got to be accepted. Second of all, a film festival exists so that way you can get distribution through some sort of video house or some sort of movie company, whatever, right? Or maybe it gets picked up by a studio or something like that. So you have to make something that is worth picking up. That's really the point. And so there's a lot of independent filmmakers who are broke, and there's a reason. It's because a lot of times their movies don't get picked up because they're not in the general sort of, let's just say, propaganda that certain studios are given right now. So that's the other challenge. You have certain people that are trying to give a certain message to society at a certain time. And if your documentary is not necessarily in alignment with that same message, they won't pick up your documentary because they don't want to teach people what you have to teach too, right? So it's like that. Did you guys learn something from what I just said? I know I ranted a long time on that one. So yeah, Robert Walker, for sure. You have to hit the triceps hard. If you want big arms, hitting the triceps hard is really important. It is a bigger muscle than the bicep for the most part, for sure. Dr. Nuts, he weighs 160 pounds and he wants to get 210 in 2 months. How do I gain muscle without taking drugs? It's never going to happen, Dr. Nuts. You've got unrealistic expectations, and you have the right screen name because you are nuts. That most people don't gain that weight in the entire career of bodybuilding, of 20 years natural bodybuilding. So if you want to gain that type of weight, you're going to have to either get really fat, or if you want to gain that weight in pure muscle, you've got at least 10 to 15 years ahead of you of natural bodybuilding. And that's on the good side. If I'm not saying it can't happen, that can happen, but it's definitely, you would have to put on a lot of muscle, and it would be a lot of time training. And strength, would you consider trying amylopectin and chromium? I don't know if the pectin is the same that's in apples. That's just the antioxidant substance that's in apples, and chromium is a mineral. With a protein shake post-workout, 50 patients is supposed to double your muscle proteins. Well, yeah, anything that helps your body's sensitivity to its own hormonal system and hormones that you, like your own insulin, chromium picolinate is supposed to help with diabetics being healthier and basically stabilizing the blood sugar and everything like that. So yeah, I'm into all those supplements are all great. They're all just basically using absorbable nutrients that are naturally occurring that your body needs. Yeah, so I'd be open to that sort of thing. I mean, assuming that I'm right about the pectin, what that pectin is and stuff like that. Yeah. Thanks, so Turf. Love your videos. Keep up the good work. Thanks, Turf. Okay. Dr. Nuts says he believes he can. Well, Dr. Nuts, you are fucking crazy. I'm telling you right now. Natural bodybuilding, you will never gain 50 pounds in 2 months. Unless, of course, you already had that 50 pounds on. And even then, like say you were already 210 naturally, and then you're going to train, and then you were starving yourself on purpose, like say some sort of Christian Bale type thing for that movie he did or whatever, right? And then you basically go for a refeed, and then you just put your weight back on that you had before. That would be a different scenario. But if you've never been 210 your whole life, and you just want to put on pure muscle, it's impossible. Physically, you cannot put on 50 pounds of muscle mass in 2 months. It just can't happen. Even the guys that are doing it unnaturally, they put on a lot of water weight, and they don't necessarily put on muscle, and they do not put on 50 pounds in 2 months either. So yeah, sort of shatter your dream there, buddy, but yeah, you're nuts. Sorry, buddy. I don't know what you've been reading, but you've been reading the wrong stuff about bodybuilding, I'll tell you that. Is it possible to lose fat while building muscle? I think so, yeah. Because basically your muscles start to rob the nutrients from your food and basically grow, and then therefore you have the appearance of being leaner because you're putting on muscle with the same amount of body fat being there. So percentage-wise, you actually are getting leaner even though you may have the exact same amount of body fat on. So for sure, it is possible to look leaner by putting on muscle mass. What animal would you say is your spirit animal? And you can include Bigfoot. I would say Wolverine is probably closest thing to my personality, honestly. Yeah. Yeah, Shakti Shaker, pectin is a fiber found in apples. Yeah, but I knew that it was something, there's a couple words, a couple letters in front of pectin, so I wasn't sure if that was a different structure or some shit. I didn't know, so. Yeah, obviously Kung Fu. He must be yanking my chain. Yeah. He's gone full testicle mode. Exactly. Oh, that's funny. The movie was The Machinist. Thank you, Bane. See, I got a lot of smart people. They'll know everything. I don't even need to answer anything. All I got to do is just ask the comments. If you ask me a question, then I'm just going to ask the comments. They'll answer for you. Then I just sit here looking pretty with no bicycle in the background, as you noticed. This is much easier. I can just sit back. I'm just going to look pretty, guys. That's it. This is so easy. Yeah, this is a fun time. This is what it's like to hang out with me. So people say, hey, he's always alone. He's always by himself. Well, guess what? I'm just a boring dude. So that's why. I'm just not very entertaining. I save up all my entertainment for the videos and then that's it. It's all gone. Okay, we had a dad joke here, which I'm pretty guilty of. Richard Thorpe is I bench, win every time I see a park. Boo. Okay, good one. Hey, and Strength, I just want to say thank you for taking the time and he's going to buy a shirt. Hey, don't buy a shirt. I only make $2 on a shirt, and Strength. Become a Patreon supporter, huh? Become a Patreon supporter and share my stuff. Get my videos out there. Become like a knight in the army of Gallantians trying to help me get my videos out there. That's what you can do. Yeah, if you want to be really efficient in your donations, but you can get a shirt. You're allowed to get a shirt. Okay, I'm just pulling your chain here. What's my opinion on good morning exercise for hamstrings? I don't really like good mornings too much. I don't like them. I find they put a lot of pressure on the lower back. I find that I find that they're a little bit too hard on the lower back. I find that when you do Romanian deadlifts, because the center of gravity is closer to the waist because the bar is in your hand, right, as opposed to on your neck, there's a little bit less of a risk factor. I don't like good mornings myself. I've never really done them. I've messed around with them a little bit and I didn't like them. Yeah. I'm not saying they can't be good for stretching. And like I said, this is my own individual choice. You can do them. I'm not saying they're bad. If you can keep your back arch and everything, then you can do them. But they're definitely not something you want to be doing too heavy for sure. Okay, Kickboxer, you're saying that's why we don't buy your shirts? What did you say up here? I want to see what you wrote. I have nothing else to say. He says, okay. Okay, why don't you want to buy my shirts? Is that what you're saying, Kung Fu? I want to get the elaboration on that one. I know you have a funny comment probably around that. Robert Walker, I consider myself the male lion because I'm big, lazy, and let all the females do all the work while I take all the credit for being the baddest dude on the continent. Robert Walker, if you are good looking and man enough to be able to pull that off, I don't blame you for trying. I don't blame you for pulling it off. But for most of us mortals, we can't pull that kind of attitude off in our own house. So good for you, man. I'll be cheering for you in the bleachers, man. I'm cheering for you to maintain that lifestyle. I'm cheering for you. Any tips for targeting upper chest better? Targeting upper chest better, try Smith machine. Try the Smith machine. Try stabilized machine movements here and there if free weights aren't working for you. As far as free weights, try changing the angles up. Go steep. Go 30 degrees. Go 45 degrees on the inclines. And mess around with going all the way down if that doesn't hurt your shoulder, or part way down and see, okay? And see which one is killing you. If I go too far down, I find I just get shoulder issues. And at the same time, I don't stretch. There's a point where the chest stretches, and then it doesn't stretch anymore. Then the shoulder joint stretches, right? And then I'm not getting any extra chest stretch. So I find to go beyond that point, I'm actually screwing my shoulders up, and I'm not getting any extra results in the upper chest. So that's why you don't see me doing that. So yeah, mess around with that. Find out where the perfect range of motion is, where you're keeping that tension on the chest and you're hitting failure, right? It can't be impossible because Jason gained like 100 pounds in 3 months. Man, that'd be hilarious. You know what I would look like at 100 pounds? I would just be skeleton. I wouldn't even exist. You'd be able to see through me. And strength, he's spamming me by saying he shares my stuff. You sneaky bastard. Spamming me now. Now you're spamming me. Not nice. Not nice, and strength. Yeah. Sometimes you don't go to parallel on squats. Is it safer? Okay, are you talking to me or are you talking about yourself? Is it safer doing that using a box? I never found using a box is necessary, but I do find using a box is necessary for people who are knee pushers. They keep on pushing off their knees instead of their ass, and that puts too much shearing force on their knees. So at first when you're teaching them, it's good for them to have a box to kind of have an idea of touching and sitting back with that ass, right? DJ Yankoff. Oh, Jason, will you ever go to Germany? I don't know. Did you send me a ticket, DJ? Did you send me a ticket? You send me a plane ticket and 5-star hotel and whatever. And it's funny thing is, my wife has friends in Germany. She's from Berlin. And so, yeah, she wanted to go a little while ago and stuff. So, yeah, I'm not saying it will never happen. Yeah, it might happen. It might happen. I might visit one of these days. We went to Italy before, and we might go back there again too. So, yeah, it might happen. Why are you in Germany, DJ? Are you in Germany? And is your name DJ or are you an actual DJ? Like, what is it? Which one is it? Answer that. I want answers. This is not just a Q&A for you guys. This is not just a Q&A for you guys. I want to find out everything about you. I want to find out where you are and what you do. Huh? You let me know. Should I be eating 5 to 6 smaller meals rather than 3 larger meals? Yes, you should be eating 5 to 6 smaller meals or large meals, but eating 5 to 6 times a day for sure. Oh, who's my favorite comedian? Okay, the guy that's made me laugh the hardest is Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle has humor that is just so often wrong in some cases that he's made me laugh. But I think Russell Peters and stuff. He makes me laugh too. All these guys make me laugh. So. What parts of the world would you say have the best leg genetics? I don't know if I could isolate that to the world. Sorry, I'm just scrolling through the comments, guys. Sorry, this is boring for you. I'm just so I can. Hey, Jason, do you have any opinion on bro splits? Is it better focusing on one muscle group at a time, along with more sets, or combination 2 or more muscle groups? Oh, so Iron Warrior, have you watched my other videos? I have about over 500 of them, and I talk at length about how I believe in structuring the body. For the most part, for a lot of natural bodybuilders, it doesn't mean that it applies to everybody, but I do talk about bro splits. Maybe I'll do another video. Maybe I should do another video on this bro split versus 2-day split, and talk about the differences and the advantages and disadvantages of both. Maybe I'll talk about that. I'll make a longer video for you. Okay, does that feel good? Message me if I forget, but put it in the comments or something like that in the next video I put up, and I'll. I think it's a good idea for me to put a video up on that. Maybe people will like that. But basically, I do feel that higher frequency is better for keeping the groove. I find higher frequency is better to have the higher quality sets for especially hitting the fast twitch fibers, because the first 5 sets you have more energy. The last 5 sets, like say you're doing 10 sets or 20 sets in a workout, the last sets are basically pumping movements. You really don't have any energy left at that point. So you're basically just fighting fatigue as opposed to actually hitting the strength groove of when the energy is no longer the weak link. It's actually the muscle fiber itself. So I find that bro splits have a tendency to work with endurance and increase carb storage and everything, and in that way it can create an overall pump. And I do believe there's some hypertrophy effects from that are positive. But as a whole, generally speaking, I like to have a higher frequency training and then go into bro split from time to time and just kill body parts, right? Yeah. Okay. Kickboxer, you would be a great stand-up, Jason. You know what? My wife has tried to push me to do that. She's actually funny enough because I've had her dying in the kitchen sometimes. Sometimes we joke about things. That's all we do is joke. And but it's definitely a different craft. It would definitely be something that you have to work on and really learn the crowd that you're speaking to, because what's humorous to one crowd is different than another, and you have to learn how to read a crowd and how to deliver comedic messages in a way that makes them laugh and is relatable to them. So that said, yeah, it's something that I have considered because I really enjoy that. That is actually the most fun I have on this channel. Well, the things I enjoy the most about doing this channel is the music, the colors, right, the cinematography, and I love humor, like just playing with people's minds and my own mind, even like just doing things that are absurd, that just shake up the system, rattle the system. It's kind of like an enlightenment sort of thing for people that are stuck in a structure of one way of seeing things. And then you can show the ludicrousness of the way they see things in that moment, and somehow it just shatters something and frees people, right? So I do love the way humor works in that way. I love Jim Carrey too, like Jim Carrey, and I love Far Side comics. They crack me up. Like Far Side comics are the hilarious comics. I love Gary Larson's stuff. It's so fun, So yeah, I mean, I do like that. So one of these days, maybe I will get into something. But again, it's almost like I only have one body, right? I can only do so much. So I'm spending every day trying to do this, and then once you get a crowd or you get enough people following it, then sometimes it can go into different things. And usually, like you guys do, you tell me what to do and what you like, because you can see me in a different way than I can see myself. So you're seeing what I'm doing, and then you may have a different idea or feeling or vibe than maybe I perceive. When I create something, I'm saying, okay, this is the way this will be responded to. And then people respond in a totally different way. I'm like, wow, I didn't see that coming, right? So yeah, this is kind of a conversation almost, and it's an ongoing work in progress of creative expression. So the creative expression is changing based on what you guys say. You're already doing it all the time. You're saying, hey, Jason, can you make a video on this or make a video on that? I'm only making videos on bodybuilding because that's really what this channel is about now. But that doesn't mean it couldn't change to vlogging or to joke channel or to crazy. Like, it doesn't mean it can't change. It's more about what people need and what's helping them the most of the time and what I enjoy doing. And it's kind of a collaboration between the two. Yeah. Yeah, Kung Fu kickboxer. You're a smart ass too, eh? You're funny. You'd be a great stand-up. First he says, you'd be a great stand-up, Jason. And he goes, yeah, because I don't think you're funny at all, but some people might. What an asshole. You're a good type of asshole, though. You're a good type of asshole. So I guess that's funny. I like that. You're the best looking ugly person I ever saw. That's that other type of shit that people say that's so funny. It's like, this cracks me up. So he says, you're really good looking for an ugly person with a weird shaped head. It's good. Andrew Patero, how many calories do I eat a day on average? I don't know. I never keep track. Probably not enough, to tell you the truth. Lately, I haven't been eating enough. I have to eat more. I definitely have to concentrate on that. Yeah, I'm sure most people don't scroll that far down. Maybe remaster some of your old videos. If they do, better take the old ones down. Sounds like an idea. Yeah, no, I keep the old videos up because sometimes when people are looking for certain things, there'll be a certain amount of authority that video may have. And then when people look that up, then maybe that video will pop up. So yeah. Robert Walker saying, this is the way. Is that from Frontier? Is that what you're doing? No, what is that? From Boba Fett, the new Boba Fett type movie or whatever. Mandalorian. Okay, this is the way. Okay, there, I see. Okay, so it's funny. People say I look like Bret Hart. Actually, if you look at Bret Hart and me, we don't really look much alike. We have brown eyes. Our hair is similar, but at the same time, we don't really look that much alike. I mean, he just looks different than me. That's definitely not an insult in his department, but I'm just saying he just looks different than me. But yeah, so people, anybody with long hair all looks the same. That's what happens. What instruments do I play? Funny enough, I don't play any instruments. I actually play through electronic system. Like I basically use my keyboard and play all the instruments that way. So I don't play an instrument specifically. Although I'd like to learn how to play the guitar one day or keyboards. I just ordered a shirt. Could you package it right now? Hey, Rudy Leroy, what happens is I use a company called TeePublic, and when you order, it goes right to their website, and that company packages it and sends it out to you. So I don't have it out of my house. If I had a lot of orders and things, at some point, maybe I would be a t-shirt company. I would package this stuff and do a print run myself and stuff. But because you have to outlay so much money to do that, and also the time spent to be able to go to the store or to the post office and send it off to people and deal with all that kind of thing, that becomes like a separate business in itself. And then I have to concentrate on doing that instead of making videos. So it makes more sense for me to do a print on demand company where I like their quality of stuff, and then they basically take care of all that for me. So that's how it works. Otherwise, yeah, I would do that right in front of the screen for you. training at a young age versus an older age, what are the differences? One of the differences majorly is that you have the history to deal with. Like say you have previous injuries or ligament issues or muscle tears or whatever to work around. So you have to change the techniques that felt totally right to you and then start to move in accordance to the way your body moves now. There's also a tendency for you to be a bit tighter, that you need to stretch more. Blood flow is not just naturally happening the same way it was when you were a kid. There's a certain amount of brittleness, I think, to the joints and to the muscles that weren't there before. Like there was almost like this natural bit of flexibility or nourishment or softness, So I think it's just really history. I think it's just history. Just you going through micro tears in the muscle, micro tears and injuries and things that happen over the years, and then they start to add up a little bit. So that's why it is important to see massage therapists, do Chinese medicine or naturopath, or see somebody to basically maintain and help flow the health through, right? Otherwise, you are going to have things that add up. I mean, a burden, a tiny little injury is not a big deal, but once you have an injury stacked on top of an injury on top of an injury, these can be just tiny little tweaks, right? They're not a big deal at first, but when you get 100 of them together, then sometimes it adds up. So it's good to get these things unraveled a bit. Vancouver, Washington. Okay, you're just right below me there, Tony. I'm right above you here, right in Harrison Hot Springs. We get a lot of people from Washington coming up here just to visit. So, okay, Robert Walker's insulting me here. This is the way you were thinking, like, okay, no, you're not insulting me. I thought you're comparing me to Golem, which would have been funny, but. Okay, so you're talking about Golem. Okay, this is the way. All right. Okay. Autograph shirts. Hey, Luke S. Autograph shirts. It's so nice of you to even think that somebody would even want one, to tell the truth. Like, I don't. If I had like lots of people that were like, "Wow, Jason, you're just so amazing. I just want an autograph shirt or something like that," then maybe there would be a market for it. Then I would do that. But I've just never really entertained the thought that I had a fan, let alone more than one fan that would want that. So if that ever happened, then maybe, then I would definitely do it. Yeah, for sure. Darren Moore. I recognize your name there, Darren. Why do I recognize your name? I don't know why. Okay. Any tips on training for people over 50? Do we need more recovery time? I'd say, yeah, you may need more recovery time, but the biggest thing I would say is that you need to ease into your workouts and stick with a little bit higher rep ranges more often because the joints, because they sometimes have a tendency to be a little bit more brittle. Not necessarily that they're brittle. That's the wrong word. I don't want to program you with that. Brittle is not the right word. The right word would be sometimes there's instabilities that are in there based on subtle things that have happened, say labral tears or whatever. Maybe there's some looseness in the ligaments, and you need to give the muscles time to recalibrate. And using a bit medium to higher rep ranges helps you do that before you get into the heavyweights. So don't be afraid to do an extra few warm-ups, a little bit of stretching and that sort of thing. And don't be afraid to be doing just as much recovery work, such as through massage and stuff, as you do in the gym, because that stuff will really help bring it all together. You know what I'm saying? Increase the blood flow, work the muscles, and then heal the body, heal the joints, and have everything working in unison. That's the most important thing, is bringing that all together, right? MMA Renegade, who's the one person, dead or alive, you would love to punch hard in the face if you wouldn't get in trouble? Man, I can't even say that, because the thing is, if I say that, because you're the odd person, there's a few trolls that have been on here, I'll tell you right now. There's been a few trolls. I would say, you know, the ones that I would really like, if I could just do it, would be the ones that are the butthurt little guys on YouTube that keep on calling everybody a fake natty because they're 3 pounds heavier than they are. Those guys, I'd like to line them all up and smash each one of them just one at a time, just for entertainment reasons. I mean, we'd probably be buddies after, but if I was going to just for entertainment reasons, just do this for the sake of conversation, I would say that would be kind of the fun thing, because I find that what happens is these guys throw out so much negativity and they make up rumors and say things that are not right about other people, and they just basically enjoy the violation of other human beings. by spreading mistruth based on their own insecurity. They're spreading non-truth based on their own insecurities, and that's really an assault. And so, yeah, if I would say, for entertainment reasons, if that's probably what I would like to do. I won't do it, but I mean that would be a fun sort of experience. It would be a new type of dance. Let's put it that way. It wouldn't be violence, nothing violent, but it would be a new type of dance. Kung Fu Kickboxer, you should combine a Tourism Canada with bodybuilding coaching holiday package. Actually, Kung Fu Kickboxer, I've thought about that, but I just didn't know that anybody would have the budget to do it on this channel, because it's a matter of how many people. But I would love to run a seminar here in Harrison Hot Springs, and say it's like 4 or 5 days where people stay in Harrison Hot Springs at the hotel or something like that, and then we get together every day and talk, drive you up the logging road, talk about bodybuilding, work out in my garage, work out at Murph's gym, that kind of thing, and basically go through one-on-one instruction and stuff, and charge each person $1,000 or something like that, and then just be 24/7 working with the people. I would do that, something like that. I would be open to that at some point in the future if there's enough people that are asking for it. So yeah, if you guys are interested in that kind of stuff, throw it my way, and then we'll see if we can put it together. Macon, good day from Australia. Nice to see you there, big guy. How you doing down there? Hopefully you're doing all right with all the fires and stuff. So I'm assuming because you have internet, maybe you're not in the danger area. So hopefully you're doing all right. Which bodybuilding YouTube channels do you follow? I don't follow any bodybuilding YouTube channels. Although I stumbled across a guy yesterday who seemed to be a really nice person. I kind of liked the vibe. He was talking about how it was a mistake for him not to be natural years ago, and what he learned from that. There was something about him that I liked. He was actually a nice person. So, but I think he was from Australia too, actually, funny enough. But anyway, yeah, I might reach out to a couple of these people at some point. People that have good hearts, you know what I'm saying? Like the people with heart, not just this ego crap, hey, look at my new Ferrari and that shit. But people that have a heart, they can have a Ferrari, but they have to have a heart. You know what I'm saying? Like those are the types of people that I like to talk to, and I think that no matter what, whether I can help them or whether I can't help them, at least there's a good conversation. And there's a bond that sometimes forms from that. So yeah. So we'll see. Any tips on training in a hot Australian heat in a garage gym? Train early in the morning. That would be my tip. Train when it's dark out, because when it gets so hot, man, it'd be overwhelming. Yeah, I'd definitely be drinking a lot of water. That's for sure, and making sure you take a lot of electrolytes in, a lot of magnesium, potassium, and that sort of stuff. That would definitely be a recommendation. Robert Walker, everybody stays in my garage. Yeah, the only problem is that it's not a very good, if I had you guys come visit me, it wouldn't be a very good monetizable sort of experience, because you won't like me by the time you leave, so I'll lose subscribers from it, because then you meet me in person and then you find out what I'm really like, and that would be the end of my YouTube channel, right? So that's the other thing. So how's my brother keeping? Well, he's listening on this channel right now. He's doing all right. He's still stubborn fucker, but he's all right. I would say the guy that you mentioned, Gary, no, that's not the guy I'm talking about. Definitely fucking not. That's definitely not the guy I'm talking about. I just erased your comment because I don't want to be harassing anybody online here. So what do I think about Israel? I've never been there. Never been to Israel. Oh, I'm sorry. You meant in a different context, or what's happening over there. I haven't been following exactly what's happening, although I know there's a lot of unrest in the world all over the place right now. So yeah, Kung Fu Kickboxer, am I from the place? I took you in that video. I took you to Hope, where First Blood, the first Rambo, was filmed. And that's exactly where he jumped off the cliff into that river and everything like that. That's exactly where it was all filmed. Most of that film was filmed right there in Hope, BC, which is only a 20-minute drive from where I am. Yeah. Yeah, Iron Warrior, putting salt in his water. Yeah, that might be an idea too. Definitely have a lot of salt if you're going to be dealing with a lot of heat when you're training. Having lots of salt. A lot of times people try to limit salt in their diets, and I never did that. Never found that was relevant. Yeah, Shakti Shaker saying that if you come out for a seminar or whatever, what I'll do is drive you up the logging road. Then I'll check in my list of subscribers whether you're subscribing. And then if you aren't on that list, then I'll make you dig your own sleeping place and then drop you off in there. And that would be a good technique. But I would get payment ahead of time. That would be also a good policy for business, I think, getting payment ahead of time for that. Tony, I'm not going to get into politics because there's too many stupid fucking people in the world right now that I'm not going to even talk to. So all I am going to say is that people will look at things superficially and not look at what's going on behind closed doors and underneath deeper issues. They'll judge somebody by the color of their sweater. They'll judge somebody by the fact that they have a different skin color, or they'll judge somebody by maybe their taste in music or something, but not actually look at what's really being done in the background. So I won't make political agenda type statements on this channel because it just causes lots of hate, because different people have their own misunderstandings around things and then they misunderstand what I'm saying. So I'm not going to even go there. But the bottom line is that I think people should look deeper. That's my main thing. And look at not what the media is telling you, but look at what's really happening. That's really what people need to do. Yeah. Gary, what did you get your wife for Christmas? Yeah, that's a good thing for me to put on a live chat where she's probably tuning in to tell. See what I got. That's not a good idea. Yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna. Feeder workouts. I talked about this just a couple workouts ago. If you want to know about what I think about feeder workouts, I'm going to make you do some homework now. I just put up a video on secret to natural bodybuilding success, and that is in alignment with feeder workouts. It has some sort of feeling in there like that. So yeah, I do feel that small workouts can help motivate you for bigger ones. So it's definitely not, all or nothing when it comes down to weight training. Although I think, like I said, there's 5 or 10 or whatever number there is of ways of stimulating the muscle. And I think you need to include as many of them as you can in order to get that synergistic effect. And you apply each one separately. So the balls out approach, where people just like say, I got to kill the muscle group. I just got to kill myself. I got to throw up in a bucket. I got to just die when I go to the gym. I got to hit that muscle. And I got to make sure it gets to deep failure. That is a valid technique. Doing it all the time, not so much, because you're going to hit a wall at some point. You're going to burn out. And then you need to apply a different principle. So there's different ways of messing around with intensities and ways of stimulating the body. And I think that all of them are relevant. Oh, another guy from Australia, Mickle in a pickle. How you doing, buddy? What are my thoughts on the 36 eggs a day diet that a lot of golden era bodybuilders used? I think it could be valid. You'll definitely put on some weight that way. You definitely not want to have a lot of carbs though, because of all the fat. Not that the fats are bad. I find that I feel best with carbs and protein, generally speaking, as an overall pump and everything like that. But there is an argument for just having massive amounts of fat and protein for periods of time and seeing how you feel on that. Okay, Ricky Field, thanks, buddy. Thanks for tuning in. Tips for giving up alcohol. Remember how shitty it makes you feel the next day? That would be one tip. It's kind of like a bad relationship, A lot of times when people get out of a relationship that's really horrible, they then start to sentimentalize. They start to basically get really sentimental about all the positive moments, the good moments. And for some reason, they get amnesia about all the negative shit. They forget all about all the bad stuff that happened, all the crap where, your car got blown up and by your wife or whatever, all the stuff. They just think about all that with that 1-2 minute time where they really enjoyed being in that relationship and where there was this really nice touching moment, but they forget about the disaster the other 99% of the time was, right? So what you have to do whenever you're going to break a pattern or a habit is remember the shit show that is basically caused from that thing. And you have to make that dominant, that memory dominant in your mind. So that way you can have the willpower to constantly say no to that substance. So chances are, if you're thinking about giving up alcohol, there's probably some reasons for it. There's probably some, maybe your physique is not where you want it to be, or maybe you're having, hangovers, or maybe you're noticing your energy is not so good. So you have to mark down those negativities or those things that are negative about it and put that somewhere where you remember it. Every time you feel like having a drink, you remember that is, the truth of what that relationship was, instead of the thing that your mind will make up of all the good times you had, right? Like one alcoholic I talked to one time, he said to me, he said, there's really only about 30 seconds to 2 minutes of a real great buzz that he had when he gets hammered. And then the rest of it's constantly chasing that again. And when he made that statement, it was almost like an aha moment that I could see that he had made in his mind about it. Now, I don't know where he is to this day or what he's doing now, but that was a real truth to it. There's really only a few seconds of a high, but so much down. And people need to really understand the down. They need to realize it's a whole decision, right? Yeah, Kung Fu Kickboxer, I know you say moderation is the key to alcohol consumption. I'd say alcohol consumption is unnecessary and absolutely, it is the fucking bane of society, honestly. If we didn't have a drinking society, there's a whole other level of awareness that would open up in people that they don't even understand that they're missing out on. It's like talking to a blind man about a rainbow that he's never seen. But because people are so shut down, they use the alcohol to open up certain energetic centers because they're incapable of feeling or experiencing other people in front of them unless they have a substance to open that up. So this is something that you will never know as long as you are constantly using that substance, even subtly. It's a negative substance. There's nothing positive about it, no matter what study comes out. And the only reason why it ever really existed was because water supplies were so bad that alcohol in small amounts was used in order to purify the water system. So that way you didn't get poisoning, right? But there's really no reason for people to do it. That's my opinion, and that's been my experience. And I have opened up doors of experience within myself that are beyond what I can even explain to anyone. So you can just trust me that I'm just speaking from experience. I love you anyway, no matter what you do whatever you want. But what I'm saying is there is a whole other area of experience that you have not experienced if you need the alcohol in any way, shape, or form. So. Hey, MA Renegade, yeah, if I'm ever in San Jose, let me know. We'll go get some good Middle Eastern food and we can hunt for some trolls to punch in the face. We punch them for educational purposes only. Yeah, at some point, I hope to be successful enough that I don't have to do the punching. I mean, that's really the point. The whole reason why I'm making this channel is that other people will do it. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. The algorithm, Facebook or on YouTube, is going to take this totally seriously. I'm totally kidding, but yeah, no. If I definitely, if I ever go down there, I'll definitely message you and we'll have something to eat or whatever. And likewise, you ever come my way, you let me know. Yeah. Okay, let me see what's going on here. Oh, I'll just sing for you guys while I'm looking at a comment here. Lance Anderson, hey Jason, in general, how often should I change up my program in general? I've been training consistently for 2 years. Well, when one program stops working, when you stop feeling like you're making any progress whatsoever and you're feeling less enthusiasm for going to the gym, then that's probably a good time to change up the program. If your enthusiasm is waning, that could be one indicator that you're like, well, I'm just not interested in going. And if you're not interested in going, then that's going to definitely work against you as far as making gains. The other thing is that if you're not getting gains at all, you're not feeling like you get any pumps, or you're not feeling like you're gaining any strength or any sort of increase in performance at all, in any way, shape, or form for weeks and weeks on end. I'm not talking about just from workout to workout, because it's normal for you not to make gains every single workout. I can't believe how many people I've got to tell this to. But people think, oh, every time I get in the gym, I should be beating my last set by 1 rep. It's like, no, the body does not go linear like that. It does not increase in gains like that. It increases over time. And sometimes you go up and then you go down a little bit and then boom, then you go past your previous peak, So this is how it works. But if you're declining or if you're definitely not making gains for months on end, then yeah, definitely time to change the program up. What ethnic background am I, Jason? Macon has said, what ethnic background are you, Jason? You have some good genetics. My ethnicity is godlike. Gods. I don't know if it's the Greek gods or whether it was the Hindu ones or the native Indian ones. I'm not sure which, but that is my lineage. So I don't have a race. That's really where I come from. That's where all Gallantians come from. I'm surprised you don't even know that. All Gallantians come from some godly place. And yeah, they're all different gods, goddesses, deities, whatever, whatever name you want to put to them. But that's where the genetics come from. Son of Zeus. Oh, Bane. Nice to meet you. Son of Zeus. Nice, nice. Okay. Okay. Kung Fu Kickboxer. God, and agree in it. Wow. I'm getting somebody telling me to F off right away. That's crazy. I don't even know this person. Usually people get to know me before telling me to F off. I usually deserve to get told to F off, but usually it's like I usually need to like at least give me a chance to offend you before you tell me to F off. That's nice. I like that. This guy's got some cojones on him. Okay, let me just go get my cord. I'm running out of battery space again. I went on too long. I talk too much. The audacity. Yeah, people come on there and just hate me. That's fine. I'm used to it. It's like high school all over again. Okay, I gotta get my cord. Bring it back. All right. Thanks for waiting. See, if I had some assistance here, I wouldn't have to get my own cord. Okay, guys, don't be asking me about other YouTubers and what their techniques are and all this shit. Just listen to me, ask me questions, and that's what I'm here for. I'm not here to fucking talk about other people and their techniques and whether this fucking guy knows something or not. You know, because then you're gonna make me comment about why I think their technique is bullshit or why I think it's good. And then sometimes that causes some sort of discussion about them, whether they're natural or not, or this or that. I just don't even want to get into it, okay? So don't be talking to me about other people's techniques and shit. You could just say, what do you think about doing this? Then I'll answer that. Don't talk to me about what about this person's technique, you know? And then that's because sometimes people are saying stuff because they're talking out of their ass, and then I have to start making a comment about that. And I don't even want to go there. Or sometimes they're saying something very intelligent, but I don't feel like promoting their channel. You know what I'm saying? So it's funny as hell. Okay. If you got to a point where you can no longer keep this channel for the financial reason, you could always start a new channel for English learners called Natural Gallant English Building. Yeah, I don't know if I'd be the best person to be teaching English. It'd be just nothing but swear words and mountain. Oh, were you guys misbehaving when I was gone? Is that what was happening? Because I'm seeing everybody saying the teacher's back or something. Like, what were you guys doing? I'm not seeing that. The comments seem to be okay. Okay, there's some civility going on in here. Okay, it's fine. Yeah. You know, Kung Fu Kickboxer, some of the guys that people are asking about are probably legitimate natties too. Like, I'm not saying anybody that's, you know, there's been some guys, you know, are just butthurt natties that are just, that you could never get results. Those are the guys that I have the most issue about, to tell you the truth. But yeah, I just don't want to comment about other people's channel. I mean, if they want to pay me to advertise their stuff because I spent 7 or 8 years on this channel building the audience that I have now, and then they're fine. They can pay me for an advertisement, like Coca-Cola on here, you know, Coca's it, whatever, you know, that kind of shit. But otherwise, I'm not going to advertise people's shit. You know, I can barely keep this channel alive, financially sustainable. Why am I going to send out all of you guys to go learn from somebody else? Like, why am I making a channel? What am I? What is it? What do they say? Like, what am I? Chopped liver? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like being in conversation with somebody and saying, "Hey, I want to talk to that person. Let's go talk to them." It's like, well, then go fucking talk to them. What are you on my live chat for? You know? Yeah. Okay, Todd. But don't ask me about them. Just ask me about a technique. Just ask me about like say the technique or something like that. Otherwise, you're including them in the conversation. I don't want other people's names in the conversation. Okay, John Doney, can you point me to one of your videos about getting back in the gym starting point? I recently changed jobs and I'm getting back into the swing of things. That's a very valid video for me to make there, John. I should make a new video about that. I can't, honestly, I have so many videos on this channel. I cannot remember about getting back in the gym, but watch in the magnifying glass down below, put in like getting back in the gym or something like that, or starting back or after a layoff. I think I have made a couple videos on that subject, but I'll make a new one for you as well. Nathan Harvey, what's the max amount of sets I would do in a workout for triceps? I would say you could do a lot of you could do a higher amount of sets for a body part like triceps or biceps because it isn't overall systemically so taxing. I find like with squats or back type work, especially the big compound movements, I find when I get into 10, 12 sets, then it becomes pretty exhausting at that point. But something like arm curls or skull crushers, you can do a lot more. So yeah, the most amount I probably would do is 12 to 15 sets tops. For that body part if I really wanted to just crush it, right? Hello from France. How are you doing there? Bonjour. No, Todd, you're not making me mad. I'm just letting you know. I know you don't know. I'm just kind of saying because I get this a lot on YouTube where people ask me more about other people instead of really just have a relationship with me. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's kind of like that. Almost like the high school way people have of relating on social media where they basically use somebody to find out credibility about somebody else instead of using their own heart and their own kind of relationship with the person. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lack of intimacy in a lot of ways. But anyway, I understand you also had your own reasons, which were also legitimate there. But I'm just saying that I don't function that way. I try to kind of steer away from that stuff because there's been so much negativity on YouTube in some ways that I find it's better to just avoid those minefields. So yeah. Okay, I just got to ban a piece of shit here. Oh, I'm sorry. I mean, a nice person. Some people just forget to take their medication on a Friday. I don't know what happens to them, but they just get crazy. Chris the Creator. Am I Christian? No, I'm not. Hopefully you're not going to give me a lecture about why I should be. Because if you are, you're going to be banned too. One thing people don't know too much about me is that you're never going to change me. You're never going to fix me. You're never going to tell me to do something that you think is true when my heart tells me what is true for me. So I'm encouraging all of you to do the same with yourselves. So I'm not trying to be an ass, and I'm not trying to say you haven't found a way for yourself. 100%, I'm on board with that. But don't be trying to put that one size fits all shit on me. I'll tell you where to go real quick. I got so much comments on that, but I won't go there. I'm just gonna let it. Yeah. Okay. Good. Okay. I'm just gonna let things go. Yeah. I think maybe I should be a comedian because then I could get away with saying whatever comes to mind and say, oh, it's just jokes. But there's a lot of truth in some jokes, How many days is best to lift weights in a week? I'd say, for me, I found 5 to 6 days a week. That's where I had the most consistent gains. But that's me. I was just doing physical fitness in the gym. That was my thing. But if, say, you're a construction worker and you're working your ass off all the time, you're always working shoulders and biceps and forearms, and you're doing a lot of lower back work, then you would find maybe 3 days a week or 4 days a week is best, or maybe only 2 days because depending on how heavy and hard your job is. So it does depend on what type of physical activity you're doing outside the gym as well. You know what, MMA Renegade, you're a deep dude. Have you ever thought about how a person who can't see, knows when they're done wiping their butt using the bathroom? Deep thoughts of MMA. Tune into his YouTube channel soon. Yeah. Garba Gaming, did you ever have 2 height spurts in puberty? And if so, how much did you grow? 2 height spurts. So it's not 1, it's not 3. How'd you come up with the number 2? Like, that's what I want to know. That's my curiosity about that question. You're asking me about my 2. I had to come up with 2 spurts, not just 1 or 4 or 5, but there was 2 specifically. So you came up with that number for a reason. Okay. Chris the Creator, then you're a good dude. Then you're using your religion to evolve instead of harm. So that's a good thing. You're one of the good ones then. Because I'm not against people who do religion. I'm all for it when they use that as a tool to wiggle free of any suffering of their own and to find their own bliss and heavenly experience. I have no problem with that. And I know that there are truths that thread through religions as well. I'm not saying that there isn't, but unfortunately there's a lot of misinterpretations by some, not you, but some, and that sometimes can be pretty controversial to deal with from time to time. But I've met some really great religious people, and so definitely nothing against you. So I'm not meaning to offend you in any way, shape, or form, but I have had a lot of that type of hate that has also come on social media at times. So yeah. J Productions, have you got online personal training available? I do have online consultations available through my website. So yeah, if you want to do a consultation, we can do a Skype chat and stuff like that. That's how I do it. Yeah. Ever had any knee problems? Any advice? Yeah, I have. I've had tightness in the knees and stuff like that. My knees have been tight lately, actually, a little bit too. Sometimes it's a trigger point issue. Sometimes there's some quad tightness. Sometimes it's a lot of vastus lateralis issue. Massage therapy is a great place to start to see what's going on. And if it's been a long-term issue, real bad, then sometimes look at whether it's a cartilage or ligament issue. Like say you've had some sort of ligament thing, maybe you pulled or tweaked something playing hockey or running or doing something, playing football, whatever, and get some prolotherapy on that. And other times it can be a systemic issue. So if a certain meridian is blocked according to Chinese medicine, that kind of thing, then sometimes you can get a certain types of symptoms because certain meridians are not functioning properly, and then you're getting a symptom that seems like a physical issue, but it's actually certain organ systems almost refer pain down certain areas. So there could be a number of things going on, but I'd always recommend seeing a professional or seeing a Chinese medicine doctor, seeing a massage therapist, seeing a few people and seeing what happens. First and foremost though, try massage because it's the most physical, or a naturopathic doctor. Or some physiotherapists do dry needling and stuff too, where they can actually get the muscles that aren't functioning right and get them to spasm and to relax and to restore proper function in there, and that may help you. Yeah, Ethan, I know the statement you're trying to make about religion, some religion people and stuff like that. But yeah, I try to just go on a case per case basis instead of just most or everybody, or you know what I mean? So it's always about the person in front of me, right? So yeah, Millen D, if you were to lift 5 to 6 days a week, what's the best split? 2-day split that I have on my website, naturalgallantbodybuilding.com. I have the 2-day splits on there. And you start with A program, then you go to B, then go to C, then go to D, and you do the A program for 3 weeks to a couple months, and then you go to the B program, and then you go from there. So yeah, I have all the splits on my website. I guess you haven't watched a lot of my videos. Are you new here, Millen? Have you never been here with me on Natural Gallant Bodybuilding before? Or are you a new guy? Are you a new friend? Are you a new friend of mine there, Millen? Are we friends now? Okay, Garba Gaming is answering because many people have experienced 2 height spurts. I honestly don't remember myself having 2 height spurts. It seemed like it was kind of a steady lack of progression because I'm 5'8". So that's pretty much it. What's your opinion on energy drinks? I don't drink them. I like the taste of them, but I don't, because I've had them before. But I've discovered that the caffeine they use in them is chemically structured or whatever, so it's not very healthy for you. So I don't drink them. Yeah. See you, Robert Walker. Have a good one, buddy. Hey, make sure you turn in tomorrow too. I'll be putting up a video. All right. Tropical Fruit Loops. You up the frequency and he feels tremendous. Great. Oh, so Millen, you're new. Okay, yeah. No, I have a website called naturalgallantbodybuilding.com. I have over 500 videos on this channel, so make sure you check them out. Lots of stuff, lots of tips, lots of easy stuff. I have a lot of them organized into playlists as well, so that'll make it easy for you to find subjects that you want to look at. But yeah, I do have programs available. Whey protein, good or bad? I like taking it here and there, Renato. I like taking protein here and there, but real food I find is always better. But I do find that sometimes I cannot access real food, or it's like, oh my God, I got to cook something, but I'm hungry. How do I get some food in? Then that's when the whey protein shake is great. So that's what I do. I use some whey isolate that's sweetened with stevia. I don't like the sucralose shit, although some people say, oh, sucralose, it's not so big. You know what? I just go with stevia. It's just healthier, right? Hey there, Jim Jam. Mountain. What are your thoughts on seeing a chiropractor? I fractured a rib a few years while at trap bar deadlifting. Went to a chiropractor and ended up a few $1,000s poor and not much better. You know, Chris, it's kind of like Christians, okay? I'm going to say this. It's like you got to judge them on an individual basis, you know what I'm saying? So, or people that aren't, or who aren't Christians, you know, or who aren't Buddhists or who aren't whatever. You know, everybody's got to be judged on an individual basis, and the same thing with chiropractors. As a general rule, though, I do find the rack and crack system is not necessarily the best system for most people. I had a severe injury from a chiropractor who just thought it was the best thing ever to adjust me. And I've actually seen people who got adjusted at the wrong time and had a severe neck problems and stuff happen from that. So if I ever get adjusted, it's usually from a naturopath, and my brother's adjusted me and stuff like that. But usually what he'll do is address the muscle spasms or trigger points first through some sort of technique, such as dry needling or through acupuncture or that kind of thing. And then from there, make the adjustment where the body wants to make the adjustment instead of just ralphing your head around and trying to get that thing to crack, you know? So there are, I think this is a sickness that applies to everything, where people say this is the one size fits all method. And I find in the chiropractor realm, there are some, not all, some who seem to apply that. They just have a tendency to say, okay, it's always like, let's just put you back in alignment by doing a few adjustments, right? Now, some of them, they do massage techniques, they do other things, and they're very legitimately good at what they do. So again, it's on a person-per-person basis. But I will say that if you're not getting results, then yeah, you might have a more of a soft tissue thing to deal with. And if your rib is out of place, sometimes you need to do some prolotherapy, because sometimes the ligamentous tissue that holds the rib in place got loosened up or torn partially or something like that, and you're better off seeing a naturopath or somebody that specializes in that, and that may help restore function in that area. Okay, so I hope that helps you out. But check out naturopaths of prolotherapy and look that up. And people who do prolotherapy in your area, and do a consultation to find out what they think is going on with your rib cage, and then from there make some decisions, right? But I think you're going to get down a much better road that way. Also, seeing a massage therapist may also help. Maybe you have a chronic trigger point issue in one of the muscles. Maybe it's not even a ligament thing. Maybe it's just a trigger point thing. And if the muscle issue is not being addressed, it doesn't matter how many times somebody adjusts you back into place, the muscle issue is not necessarily going to go away. But you know, miraculously, once you get some massage, then all of a sudden, boom, you know, then the spine or the ribs are naturally starting to fall back into place because the muscles aren't pulling them out. So I hope this helps you out, buddy. Yeah. Kung Fu Kickboxer, can I start doing 2 videos a day? Okay. Okay, is it Kung Fu Kickboxer? Okay, all right. I'm trying to go through these things. Okay, yeah. Naturopathic medicine, Chris, is what it's called. Naturopathic medicine. Bloated mischief. Are full body workouts 2 to 3 times a week better than bro splits? It would depend on the person, because I've seen people have mixed reviews on both. But for me, I found doing a higher frequency training was more effective, which is why I've written programs on my website called the 2-day split programs. I do have some bro splits on there as well for people to cycle back and forth. It's good to use a combination. So you do this program for a period of time, then you do that program, and you go back and forth. Each one will offer its advantages, but overall I find a higher frequency, lower volume program seems to offer more advantages. I have the exact structures on my website, naturalgallantbodybuilding.com, so check that out. And I have a lot of videos on this channel, so check out my playlist on sets, reps, and all that stuff. Okay, Renato. Thoughts on neck work training. I just made a video on this. I just made a video on neck training. So, okay. worth it or avoid given the chance of major problems in the neck, rest of the body? Well, I talked about it, so I want you to watch my neck training video. It was only, and my views were really low on that video. So I'm going to give you shit about that right now. My views are really low because you didn't watch my video. And meanwhile, now you're asking me this question now. What the hell, man? But I'm going to answer you short answer now. I will say neck training, I never did it. I never really did it. I never felt necessary to do because I have a big head. It just rolls around whenever, and I seem to get neck things from it. But it has come to my attention where I think it may be worth it for an overall stimulus on the body based on if the neck is functioning right, and if the neck has good functionality and the muscles are getting blood flow, it may affect lower back and upper back, and it may help you there as well. So my recommendation, if you're going to be doing neck training, then be doing high rep training, like 20, 30, 40 reps. Don't be doing heavy weight, like straining 5 reps one way or not. You're just going to wrench your neck out and cause more problems for yourself than anything. But yeah, that said, high reps. And I think it may offer some benefit, although I have not been doing enough of it. I'm still experimenting with that now. Grip training. Yeah, if you're doing deadlifts a lot and stuff, you're definitely going to need grip training. Me, I just grip the bar when I'm bent over rowing. You'll see me sometimes I do this to the camera after I do bent over rows because my grip gives out sometimes before my back does. So that's what I do for grip training. Richard P, I have a video on HIIT training on this channel. So take a look at it. Just take a look on HIIT training. I have a video on it, just what I think about HIIT training. It's right there. Emil D, 2-day split. You could do the A program for basically 3 weeks to 2 to 3 months. I have it all written in the red print in the beginning. Read all that print, and it talks about the stipulations on that program when you actually purchase the program. Yeah. Oh, that's a good one there, Stretchovarius Jake. Oh yeah, neck. I like to do up to sets of 100. Don't be afraid to really progress on it either if you really want to take your neck to the next level. Good one, yeah. Kickboxer, who do I hit? Yes, exactly. That's the type of training kickboxer likes. He likes, who do I hit? Yeah, there's such thing as hit? Okay, I'm going to hit somebody. Perfect. Perfect. Well, I've been on for 2 hours. I want to thank you guys for joining in, and thanks for coming around. And okay, maybe I'll answer one more question. I think a couple of you guys still have a question. Still have a question? Okay. Any martial arts you feel aren't worth time learning, and are there any that really stand out to you? Well, I wouldn't say that I'm the foremost expert on martial arts by any means, because I just did karate for 10 years, and I did it quite extensively. Like I was really serious about it. But I would say if I could do it all over again, as much as I like karate, and I think it was very effective for learning timing and striking and stuff, I would say if I was really going to get good at martial arts, I would get good at wrestling, good at boxing, and good at jiu-jitsu, those things, or judo. And ideally I would be judo or wrestling, one of those two, and jiu-jitsu and boxing, like those. And then karate would be kind of like the third or fourth or fifth. But I think in order to be a full martial artist, you have to really combine all of these. You can't just have one or the other. But if you're going to just sit with one, I would say, yeah, judo, wrestling, or jiu-jitsu is the best. One of those, I would say. But yeah, that's it. Yeah. Millen, I don't really do much cardio. Yeah. Andritz, why does my forearm hurt when I do barbell curls? Try changing your grip. You might have a certain structure, the way you're built with your wrists and stuff, that if you do this, it's really hard on your elbows. So first try changing your grip, then move to easy curl bar and see if that helps. And then see also with a massage therapist if there's any trigger points or issues going on in here, in your arm or in your forearm, right? Maybe there's some muscle knots in there that are also causing some problems. Cool. All right. Okay. I think that's pretty good. I think I've helped enough of you guys out today. Maybe I have. Maybe I'll help you out this week. I don't know. But I'll be posting every single day, and every Friday I'll be doing this again. Okay. So thanks a lot for tuning in and whatever. And if I didn't answer your question, there's probably a reason for it, a greater reason. And thanks a lot for tuning in. And yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. I'm going to be putting up a video tomorrow, and I'll see you. And yeah, mountain. Blessings to all of you, no matter what religion or belief system, all right? Highest blessing to all of you. Hope you have a great time and a great day, and I will see you tomorrow. How do I end this thing? Take care.